Chapter 1. Rog, I have a commission here, I hope you can take it. Coulson, who was wearing a black suit and had a receding hairline, stood in front of Rog's desk and said calmly. You know the rules. First, tell me the general content of the commission, and then I can decide whether to accept your commission or not. Rog, who was leaning on the back of the chair, opened his eyes and glanced at Coulson, then leaned back in the chair and closed his eyes again. 2 weeks ago, Tony Stark went to Afghanistan to deliver weapons to the local U.S. military. After the transaction was completed, on the way back to the U.S. military base, Tony Stark was attacked and then kidnapped. His current whereabouts are unknown. I hope you can go to Afghanistan and rescue Tony Stark. Coulson briefly described the content of the commission and the general situation. At this time, although Rog looked like he was about to fall asleep, he was completely awake when he heard the name Tony Stark. Tony Stark, it seems that what should have happened has happened. Rog opened his eyes and sat up, then took out a scroll from the drawer of his desk and placed it in front of Coulson. Just as Rog was about to open the scroll, he suddenly remembered something and put the scroll back in the drawer. I have something to deal with now. Come to me at 5:00 tomorrow afternoon. As soon as his voice fell, Rog's figure completely disappeared in front of Coulson as if he had teleported. Although the scene before him didn't conform to common sense, Coulson wasn't surprised by it. After all, this was not the first time he had watched Rog disappear in an instant. Through the flying Thor technique, Rog instantly moved from his office to the roof of a warehouse next to the Hudson River. And here, there was Rog, who looked exactly like him, waiting for him. Thank you for your hard work. As soon as he finished speaking, Rog, who had been waiting here for a long time, turned into a cloud of smoke with a bang and dissipated into the air. After dispelling the shadow doppelganger, Rog received all the information his doppelganger had gathered. On the surface, Roger's identity was that of a detective with his own firm. But in reality, he is a ninja. To be more precise, he is a ninja who transmigrated to this world. To be more precise, it's a ninja who should have crossed into the Naruto world, but ended up in the Marvel world. Just like how there were all kinds of strange reasons for transmigrating, the cheats, or goldfingers, that transmigrators had were also different. Rog's goldfinger was very simple. It was a system called the God of Ninjas. This system was also very simple. It only had 2 functions, commission and exchange. By completing tasks entrusted by others, Rog can get something called Ninja Coin. Ninja coins can be exchanged for anything in Naruto's world except for humans. For example, ninjutsu, Kekkai Genkai, secret arts, ninja tools, tailed beast. As long as he has enough ninja coins, Rog can exchange all the ninjutsu in Naruto's world, and all the Kekkai Genkai, Kekkai Genkai, Kekkai Genkai, and even all the 9-tailed beasts, making him the real god of ninjas. The future that the system can give is very good. The only drawback is that it is not as easy to get ninja coins. Rog has been in this world for 3 years, but he still didn't get many ninja coins, and he barely exchanged 9 ninjutsu. For example, the shadow doppelganger that had just been removed was learned by Rog through the exchange. As for the advanced ninjutsu, Flying Thor, it is the system's friendly care for the newcomer, and it is one of the rewards in the newcomer gift pack. If he hadn't mastered the S-class ninjutsu, Flying Thor from the beginning, Rog wouldn't have the ability to complete the commission, and it would be impossible to exchange ninjutsu through ninja coins and enhance his strength little by little. The mission information given by Kingpin is actually accurate, which is a bit inconsistent with his character. The main reason why Rog didn't immediately accept Coulson's commission is that he still has an unfinished commission. The 4th rule of commission is that the next commission cannot be accepted before the commission is completed. This commission rule is not Rog's rule, but the system's rule. As for similar rules, in addition to this one, there are 4 other rules. As for whether there will be more commission rules in the future, Rog himself is not very clear. But in any case, the commission rules formulated by the system are relatively reasonable rules, and there will not be some extremely unreasonable rules. After understanding the general situation in the warehouse, Rog did not hesitate and jumped directly from the roof of the warehouse and came to the door of the warehouse. On the surface, this warehouse is the warehouse of a shipping company, but in fact, it is the largest base of the hand in New York, where more than 100 hand ninjas are stationed all year round. Rog doesn't know why Kingpin is against the hand, but since Kingpin's commission has passed the system's judgment, and Kingpin himself is very willing to pay for it, so Rog doesn't mind acting as Kingpin's thug. Only the commission written on the commission scroll and judged by the system can get ninja coins. The amount of ninja coins is determined by the system's judgment. This is the first rule of commission. It is because of the existence of such a rule that Rog has not received many missions in 3 years, which seriously slowed down his steps to become the god of ninja. Compared with the person next door who became a true god in less than 2 years, Rog feels that he has seriously lowered the comprehensive score of the Traverser's achievement. At the moment when Rog just appeared at the door of the warehouse, the hand ninjas disguised as idle security guards noticed his appearance for the first time. Although they are all ninjas, Rog doesn't think that these guys who don't even know ninjutsu and only know how to chop people with ninja knives are his peers. How can the welcoming ceremony be without a grand flame? Although these hand ninjas didn't know what Rog wanted to do, when they saw Rog suddenly standing in the same place and looking like he was going to blow, these hand ninjas suddenly noticed a strong death crisis. Katant Grand Fire Annihilation. Although the name of ninjutsu does not affect the power of ninjutsu, Rog still likes to read the name of ninjutsu before performing ninjutsu. There's no reason, just because it looks more handsome. With Rog's exhalation, a flame came out of his mouth. When this flame first appeared, it was only the thickness of a finger. But as the distance increased, the flame became bigger and bigger, and finally turned into a huge sea of fire of tens of meters. Like the roar of the god of fire, it slammed into the door of the warehouse, instantly breaking the door, and madly pouring into the warehouse. Uchiha Madara's Grand Fire Annihilation is really domineering. Chapter 2. There are 2 types of ninjutsu that can be exchanged by the system. One is the standard version, and the other is the personalized version. The standard version, as the name implies, is an extremely standard ninjutsu, standard power, standard consumption, nothing special, everything needs to be developed by oneself. The personalized version is the version with a strong character personality. For example, Rog's Fire Release, Grand Fire Annihilation has a strong style of Uchiha Madara. The power is greater, but the consumption of chakra didn't change, and in the process of exchange, you can directly get Madara's experience on this ninjutsu. You can either spend time slowly to become stronger, or you can directly spend money to become stronger. Although the personalized version of ninjutsu is more powerful and less hand seals, it also consumes more ninja coins, which is one of the balance given by the system. However, this advantage doesn't exist for Rog. Along with Flying Thor, there are also Muji Jutsu and 7 Attribute Chakra. Flying Thor, Muji Jutsu, 7 Attribute Chakra, these 3 are all the rewards in Rog's gift pack. For some ordinary ninjutsu, such as Shadow Clone Jutsu, Rog exchanged the standard version. But for some ninjutsu, he exchanged the personalized version. After the raging sea of fire poured into the warehouse, it caused terrible damage. A small number of hand ninjas stationed in the warehouse were directly burned to death. As for the others, although they were lucky enough to survive, they were also left with significant injuries. This is the difference between having ninjutsu and not having ninjutsu. They are all ninjas, but the 2 are completely different. Rog's Grand Fire Annihilation lasted for 5 or 6 seconds and then stopped. It didn't last long, but it left a terrible impression on these hand ninjas. Is this really a human? A Grand Fire Annihilation directly killed a quarter of the hand ninjas in the warehouse. Even so, those who survived by luck didn't have the slightest intention to escape. They took out their weapons and had the momentum of dying together with Rog. Your aura is not bad, but unfortunately, you are too weak. Rog didn't care about the killing intent of the hand ninja. They were just a bunch of small fries. They didn't have the ability to harm him at all. Under the gaze of these hand ninjas, Rog casually walked into the warehouse, as if he wasn't walking into a warehouse where a group of murderous ninjas gathered, but a large shopping mall filled with people. Perhaps it was because Rog's invisible contempt had stimulated their hearts, or perhaps it was because the previous grand fiery annihilation had left a deep impression on them. Not long after Rog entered the warehouse, a hand ninja attacked him from the dark. The sharp ninja sword was aimed directly at his vitals. "Do you want to dance too?" When the ninja came in front of him, Rog dodged the katana full of killing intent. Then he grabbed the katana's right hand and said a sentence that the ninja absolutely couldn't understand. In this world, no one can understand this joke. It's really a loss. Rog didn't pay attention to the hand ninja, directly grabbed his katana, and then slid the katana across his neck. From dodging to grabbing the katana, all of Rog's movements looked very casual. It was as if he didn't kill a highly skilled ninja, but a chicken that stretched out its neck on its own initiative. "Don't waste time, all of you come together." With that, Rog made an international hand gesture to these hand ninjas, showing the middle finger. Although there was a language barrier, the meaning of showing the middle finger was understood by all the hand ninjas present. And what made them even angrier than showing the middle finger was that Rog casually killed one of their companions, and then threw the dead hand ninja aside as if he was throwing garbage. Without anyone issuing an order, these hand ninjas rushed toward Rog one by one. At the same time, they issued bursts of screams and howls. Facing the collective charge of these hand ninjas, Rog didn't retreat but rushed toward them, with a hint of excitement on his face. Although the hand ninjas have the advantage of numbers and home ground, but in front of Rog who has chakra, they not only didn't have any advantage, but were also forced to retreat by Rog. Unlike these hand ninjas, every time Rog used his katana, he could take away the life of a hand ninja. At this time, Rog didn't use any ninjutsu or genjutsu at all, only the simplest and purest taijutsu. There was no superfluous movement, no hesitation. Every time he waved his katana, it was just right. He didn't use too much strength, nor did he do enough damage, everything was so just right. When he was surrounded by so many enemies, with attacks coming from all directions, Rog finally understood why Madara said the classic words, "Do you also want to dance?" In this environment surrounded by enemies, the battle was no longer a battle. This feeling was like dancing on the scythe of the Grim Reaper, this feeling of turning the battle into a dance of slaughter, this feeling of controlling life and death by one person. If possible, Rog was even willing to continue this feeling. However, this idea of his quickly fell through. When his katana was inserted into the heart of the last hand ninja, he was the only one left standing in the entire warehouse. Except for the ninjas who had died in fire release, grand fire annihilation at the beginning, all the other hand ninjas had been killed in one blow. The strong smell of blood enveloped the entire warehouse, and the ground was piled with the bodies of hand ninjas, and the bright red blood stained the entire ground. After confirming that there were no living hand ninjas in the entire warehouse, Rog took out the mobile phone he bought on the black market and dialed the number left by Kingpin. A deep man's voice answered the phone, but it wasn't Kingpin himself. "Tell your boss that the warehouse commission has been completed, and he has 12 hours to pay." After that, Rog hung up the phone directly. After all this, Rog directly flying Thunder God and returned to his detective office. When he returned to the office, the first thing he saw was Coulson sitting on the sofa, casually browsing the newspaper. "Why are you still here? Didn't I tell you to come back tomorrow?" Coulson didn't answer, but looked at Rog seriously, and then asked helplessly, "Can you take less of such bloody tasks in the future? Although your evaluation in the Bureau is that you are harmless to the general public and don't need special detention, you have to consider the impact." As an experienced agent, Coulson could see at a glance that Rog had just finished a fierce battle. Although he didn't suffer any injuries, the blood of those hand ninjas inevitably sputtered on him, making him look like he had just come out of a slaughterhouse. Chapter 3. Forget it. Whether or not I'm a threat to the general public is up to your Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Bureau. If it weren't for the fact that you sent out special forces 3 times in a row and failed to capture me, I would have been locked up in an unknown mysterious prison in the name of threatening the general public. Rog didn't give Coulson any face. That's a procedural issue. You know, it's the kind of procedure that must be implemented. Being refuted so directly by Rog, even if Coulson was an experienced agent, he couldn't help but show an awkward expression. Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and... Damn it, can't you change the name of your bureau? Every time the name was read, Rog seriously suspected that when the name was given, the higher-ups all drank vodka until they became stupid. We're dealing with this problem. I believe there will be a new name soon. Although he was one of them, Coulson himself was quite dissatisfied with the long name. Every time he went out to perform a mission, as long as he said the name of the bureau, others would show an expression of, "Are you kidding me?" I hope so. I'm going back. If you're interested, you can continue to stay here and read the next issue of the newspaper. After that, Rog directly left the office with the Flying Thunder God and returned to his secret hideout. In the past 3 years, because of the execution of the commission, Rog made a lot of enemies in New York. Most of them were people and organizations who didn't follow the law and only used violent means to solve problems. For the sake of safety, to avoid being shot in the head by a sniper rifle in his sleep or having his door blown open by a rocket, Rog used a very secret identity and spent 8 figures to buy a small hideout. It was more than 500 square meters, a big high-rise overlooking the entire Central Park of New York. Even in downtown New York, it was still quiet and pleasant. It was a good hideout. No one would think that a person who was a private detective would live in a place like this, and Rog didn't have to worry about his whereabouts being leaked. No one had seen him leave the house since he moved in. Every time he went out, he would use the Thor to teleport directly to the office. It saved him time and effort, and he could reach the office in 1 step. There was no need to worry about traffic jams on the way. At noon the next day, Rog returned to the office via the Thor. Then, he saw Coulson sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper. The scene looked no different from yesterday. The only difference was that Coulson was no longer holding an expired newspaper in his hand, but the New York Times that had just come out today. He didn't know if it was intentional or not, but the front page of the newspaper with Rog's face was about the commission he had carried out yesterday. A shocking massacre. Terrifying massacre in New York, 115 gangsters died in a warehouse. Is this the distortion of human nature or the decay of morality? Strictly speaking, ninjas of the hand and gangsters were 2 completely different professions, but it was clear that the reporter in charge of writing this article wasn't aware of this. However, Rog liked the headline given by the reporter, which brought back some good memories. It seems that you care a lot about Tony Stark. The coffee in front of Coulson had no temperature. Obviously, he had come to the office a long time ago. His father is one of the founders, and he is also the most important weapon supplier to the government, so we don't want any accidents to happen to him. Coulson said with a serious face, but Rog didn't believe his explanation. If they really cared about the safety of Tony Stark, they would have sent someone to rescue Tony early. The 10-ring gang hiding in the mountains of Afghanistan may be difficult for others to find, but for them, it was at most a little troublesome. Whatever you say. After that, Rog took out a commission scroll from the drawer of his desk. Just as he was about to open the scroll and let Coulson write the commission in black and white, he suddenly thought of something. He took out a legal mobile phone from the drawer and logged in to his account. When he saw the balance of less than 5 digits on his account, his face became a little ugly. I was actually reneged on my debt. After refreshing the page several times in a row, Rog had to admit this fact. He was indeed reneged on his debt. Kingpin, the king of the underworld in New York, actually reneged on his debt. Although this matter looked a bit funny, in the system commission column, the words, incomplete, were clearly displayed. The second rule of commission was that only when the reward indicated in the commission was received, the commission was considered complete. My last commission was reneged on by the client, so you need to wait here for another 5 minutes. I will be back in 5 minutes. As soon as his voice fell, Rog's figure disappeared in front of Coulson again. Having waited for the whole morning, it doesn't matter if he waits for another 5 minutes. Coulson had no objection to this. Although Coulson didn't know who Rog's last commission client was, he was very sure that the client was very unwise. Some people's money can never be reneged on, and it's best not to even think about reneging on your debt. Through the flying Thor, Rog directly teleported to the top of the Fisk building. The Fisk building is where Kingpin's headquarters is located, and before teleporting, Rog deliberately used chakra perception to perceive Kingpin's position. Chakra perception jutsu is one of his accumulations in the past 3 years. He exchanged it from the system. It originally belonged to second Hokage Senju Tobarama. This jutsu doesn't need to be printed, and the insight is extremely accurate. Even if the target is thousands of miles away, it can accurately perceive the vitality and chakra strength of the target. Except for the need to consume a lot of ninja coins when exchanging, this jutsu has no shortcomings. Because in this world, except for Rog himself, no one else has chakra, so this jutsu was slightly adjusted by the system, and the ability to perceive chakra strength was replaced with the ability to perceive energy strength. When he commissioned, Rog and Kingpin met once, so he was very clear about Kingpin's vitality. Before the Flying Thunder God, he perceived Kingpin's position in advance and found that Kingpin happened to be in the Fisk building. As for the Flying Thor technique on the top of the Fisk building, he left it a long time ago. Not only the Fisk building, but even the top of the Stark building also has the Flying Thor technique. In the past 3 years, Rog left hundreds of Flying Thor techniques in New York, so that he can teleport to various areas of New York at any time through the Flying Thor. Chapter 4. It's a good habit to leave Flying Thor jutsu behind. Especially when needed, this habit can help a lot. And with chakra perception, even if there are a lot of Flying Thor jutsu, it doesn't affect the accuracy of Flying Thor's teleportation at all. Kingpin's office is on the top floor of the Fisk building, which is only a few dozen meters away from Rog's current position. If he uses the method of breaking the wall, then the distance between them will be further reduced. However, Rog doesn't intend to do this, because he is a gentle person. Or, he is a gentle ninja. Kingpin may have never thought that someone would come down directly from the top of the building to find him, so on the way to Kingpin's office, Rog was not stopped. Even Kingpin's blonde secretary with a curvy figure directly treated him as a normal visitor. Just as the blonde secretary with a delicate face and a proud figure was about to ask Rog if he had an appointment, Rog walked directly past her and pushed open the door of Kingpin's office. "Sir, you can't enter." Before the blonde secretary finished speaking, Kingpin waved at her and motioned her to leave the office. "Mr. Kingpin, I didn't expect that you, who has a big business, would rely on a ninja's hard-earned money." Although Rog's tone was extremely calm, Kingpin and his 4 men in the office could clearly feel the anger in his words. Before Kingpin could speak, his 4 men in suits and ties decisively pulled out their pistols from their pockets and aimed directly at Rog's head. With 4 pistols pointed at his head, according to common sense, Rog should stop moving forward to avoid further provoking Kingpin and his 4 men. But Rog didn't do this. He still walked towards Kingpin unhurriedly as if he didn't see the 4 pistols at all. Just as one of them was about to move the muzzle and shoot Rog's thigh, he suddenly found that an irresistible force strangely shrouded him, restricting all his mobility. Fixed body jutsu, a basic ninjutsu that even genin can learn. Fixed body jutsu is only a basic ninjutsu. Its level is not high, and the consumption of chakra is not much, but in the hands of different people, the power of this ninjutsu is completely different. Although the fixed body jutsu that Rog exchanged is only the standard version, after 3 years of continuous tempering, his fixed body jutsu has extremely amazing power. As long as he doesn't release it in advance, the binding time of fixed body jutsu for ordinary people is at least 30 minutes. For ordinary people with worse physique, the duration of fixed body jutsu may even last for several hours. Although Kingpin's body jutsu, they are still at the level of ordinary humans. As long as Rog doesn't release fixed body jutsu, in the next half hour, they can't even blink. In the next half hour. You're the first person who dares to come to my office alone and talk to me with such an attitude. After that, Kingpin, who was sitting, stood up, showing his extraordinarily strong physique, and at the same time showing his amazing momentum as the Underworld Emperor. That's because you haven't met me before. Rog ignored Kingpin's momentum and came to him unhurriedly, then took the phone on the side of the desk and put it in front of Kingpin. Now, immediately, pay the reward. After that, Rog looked up at Kingpin contemptuously. Bang! Kingpin didn't answer Rog, but raised his thick right hand and slammed it on the table. The huge force suddenly made the desk overwhelmed, and cracks visible to the naked eye appeared on Kingpin's right hand. Kid, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have some strange abilities. This is New York, my territory. As soon as his voice fell, Kingpin noticed a severe pain coming from his right hand. His right hand was pierced. When did he do it? I didn't even notice it. Although Kingpin is the Underworld King, he is different from other Yakuza leaders. He has never stopped training because he is in a high position, and his huge body size is not because of obesity, but because his muscles are too developed. Not only that, but he is also a top fighting master. Every day, he practices with fighting masters from all over the world, and every time, he fights 10 people by himself. Even so, he has never lost, and the training time has never exceeded 20 seconds. And his sparring opponents were either dead or injured. It was because he was extremely proficient in fighting that Rog's blow, which completely exceeded his perception, shocked him so much. Only those who are proficient in fighting can really understand how terrifying that attack is. There was no sign, no reaction. If it wasn't for the feeling of his right hand being pierced, he wouldn't even know that Rog had completed an attack. I'll say it again, now, immediately, pay the reward. Kingpin looked at Roger's gaze as if he was looking at a corpse. He picked up the phone with his intact left hand and dialed a number silently. Transfer the money, transfer it now. Almost at the moment when Kingpin hung up the phone, Rog's mobile phone received a message that $20 million had been successfully transferred. I'll leave this kunai to you as a souvenir. Remember, never go back on your word. After that, Rog disappeared directly in front of Kingpin and returned to his office through the door. When his figure disappeared from the office, Kingpin picked up the phone again and dialed a number, spread the news that the Hudson River warehouse case yesterday was done by a private detective named Rog. Rog didn't know what happened next. If he knew, he would also leave some gifts for Kingpin's left hand. After returning to the office, he glanced at the timer in his phone, 3 minutes and 50 seconds, no overtime, not bad. After casually tossing the phone back into the drawer, he took out the commission scroll and opened it on his old desk. You can now write the details of the commission and the reward on the scroll. At the moment when Kingpin completed the transfer, the system changed the commission to completed status and sent 10 ninja coins to Rog. Coulson quickly finished writing the content of the commission and the reward. After seeing that the reward for this commission was only $50,000, Roger frowned slightly. Only $50,000, it seems that you don't care much about the safety of Tony Stark. Kingpin was willing to pay $20 million for the commission, and what he needed to solve was only the ninja in his hand. Tony Stark, the only son of Howard Stark, the most important weapons supplier to the U.S. military, is only worth $50,000 in the eyes of the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Security Bureau. Tony Stark casually picked a bottle of red wine at home and the price was higher than this. Are you serious? Rog didn't care much about the commission reward, but when he saw that it was only $50,000, he still couldn't believe it. This is a private commission, and there is no way to reimburse, so that's all. Chapter 5. While Coulson was talking, Rog glanced at the system's commission page. Commission content: rescue the kidnapped Tony Stark. Commission status: incomplete. Commission reward: 10 ninja coins. Rog was not surprised by this result. According to the previous commissions certified by the system, the possibility of this commission being passed is very high. After all, this is a commission involving Tony Stark. The only thing that surprised him was that the commission reward given by the system was a bit low. 10 ninja coins, the same reward as Kingpin's commission to eliminate the hand ninja. The targets involved in Kingpin's commission were some unknown hand ninja, so it is normal for the commission reward to be low. But this time, the commission involved Tony Stark, and as a result, the system gave him 10 ninja coins as a commission reward. $50,000 is $50,000, when are you going to leave? Rog asked casually. If you can, I hope you can go to Afghanistan with me now. I have prepared the equipment needed there in advance. Coulson's eyes lit up, and he immediately gave an answer. I can leave now, but I won't go with you. I don't want to take a 10-20-hour flight. After that, Rog handed a flying Thor kunai to Coulson, and then continued, you take this kunai, call me when you arrive, and I will appear in front of you. Coulson didn't expect that Rog would use such a method to set off. However, he soon realized something. This kunai is the key prop of Rog's teleportation ability. If he can analyze the secret of this kunai, maybe he can. After this idea emerged in his mind, Coulson looked at Thor kunai with a subtle change in his eyes. Don't think about it, even if I give you this kunai directly, you can't figure out the secret of teleportation, so you should give up as soon as possible. Rog can't read minds, but as long as he takes a look at Coulson now, he can know what Coulson is thinking. Trying to figure out the secret of flying Thor through the kunai engraved with the flying Thor technique is pure daydreaming. Are you really not worried about revealing the secret at all? There will be some worries, but it will never be because of you. Coulson finally left with the flying Thor kunai, and then flew directly to Afghanistan through the plane arranged in advance. After Coulson left, Rog lay directly on the sofa and opened the exchange page in the system. Complete Susanoo, 6 Tomo Rinnegan, Bijou Karama, Mystical Art, Mokutan, True Thousand Hands, Buddha on top. Every time he saw these shining golden ninjutsu and Kekkei Genkai, he swallowed his saliva unconsciously. When will he be able to exchange all of these? After calming down a little, Rog put his eyes on a Kekkei Genkai marked with 300 ninja coins. 3 Tomo Sharingan. In order to exchange for the 3 Tomo Sharingan, Rog stopped exchanging ninjutsu a long time ago, and silently accumulated ninja coins. Although the process of saving ninja coins is a bit difficult, he will soon be able to exchange for this long-desired Kekkei Genkai. Unconsumed ninja coins, 295. As long as he successfully rescues Tony Stark, Rog can smoothly exchange for the 3 Tomo Sharingan, and thus have this Kekkei Genkai that is very powerful in the early stage, and even more powerful in the later stage. Late at night, Rog's shadow clone in the office received a call from Coulson, and then informed him who had just fallen asleep. Can't you call later? Although somewhat dissatisfied, Rog finally got up and put on clothes suitable for combat, and then began to perceive the flying Thor jutsu in Afghanistan. Since mastering the flying Thor, it was the first time he tried to perceive such a long-distance jutsu, which made him worry about whether there would be any accidents in this ultra-long-distance transmission. At first, Rog could only vaguely perceive the extremely vague flying Thor jutsu. But when he used chakra perception at the same time, the vague flying Thor jutsu gradually became clear. Finally, after consuming dozens of times more chakra than usual, he finally established a connection with the flying Thor jutsu in Afghanistan, and then disappeared from the bedroom in an instant. In just a moment, the scene in front of him changed from the familiar bedroom to the dusty mountains of Afghanistan. "Aren't you afraid of the heat?" Looking at Coulson, who was sweating but still wearing a black suit, Rog asked puzzledly. "The suit is a gentleman's armor, it can protect me from harm," Coulson answered in an extremely formal tone. Rog ignored Coulson and set his eyes on the transportation prepared by Coulson. "Isn't your organization quite rich? Can't you change to a better car? This car looks older than me." Next to Coulson was an ultra-old off-road vehicle that would not be surprising even if it was scrapped in the next second. "Personal mission, it's not convenient to use the Bureau's transportation," Coulson continued to answer in an extremely formal tone. "I'd be a fool to believe you. Let's go and save that playboy." After that, Rog opened the door of the passenger seat and sat straight in. At this time, Tawny, who was imprisoned in an unknown cave, looked at the pile of parts in front of him with a serious face and said with emotion, "It will take about an hour or two to assemble, and then we can leave this damn cave." Ethan, who was standing next to Tawny, also had a look of emotion on his face. He never thought that even in such an environment, Tawny Stark could still create such amazing works. Perhaps this was the talent that made people jealous and yearn for it. "Let's get started. Which way are we going?" "We don't know the whereabouts of Tawny Stark now." Coulson, who was driving the off-road vehicle, asked Rog, who was resting with his eyes closed. "Drive north at this speed for half an hour, and then we'll have a guide." Rog answered casually without opening his eyes. Not long after setting off, he used Chakra's perception to check the situation around him. Although he did not directly find Tawny's whereabouts, he found a group of rats hiding in the cave. They were deliberately hiding in the cave, and judging from their life force, all of them were adult males. Rog had no way to determine whether these people were the members of the Ten Rings gang who kidnapped Tawny, but since they were all people who made a living in this place, even if they were not from the Ten Rings gang, they were at least in the same line of work as them. News between people in the same line of work was often more up-to-date. It was like a bank in New York being robbed. The New York police could not immediately determine the identity of the robber, but the New York gangs could. Chapter 6. Yellow sand billowed in the mountainous area of Afghanistan. An oversized off-road vehicle was moving quickly. The bumpy road made Rog, who was sitting in the passenger seat, completely give up the idea of resting. "Are you sure there are people here?" According to Rog's instructions, Coulson drove the oversized off-road vehicle in the mountainous area without roads for half an hour, but until now, he didn't see anyone. "You'll see them soon." Not long after Rog finished speaking, a group of terrorists with all kinds of weapons rushed out from the hill in front of them, and then fired several shots at their car. Bang bang bang, the bullets hit the off-road vehicle without any suspense, stopping the off-road vehicle that had been running for half an hour, and a burst of hot air came out from the hood of the off-road vehicle. "How are you going to deal with them?" Looking at the group of terrorists who kept coming towards them, Coulson frowned slightly and asked Rog's opinion. Rog didn't answer him, but opened the door and got out, then walked towards the group of terrorists. %yen ******, the terrorist who was walking in front shouted loudly at Rog, and at the same time waved the automatic rifle in his hand, trying to stop Rog from moving forward. Rog couldn't understand what the terrorist was saying, and even if he understood, he wouldn't stop. Just as the terrorist was about to raise the automatic rifle in his hand and shoot Rog, who didn't know what was good for him, Rog disappeared in front of him like a ghost. Body flicker technique. To deal with this group of terrorists, there was no need to use the flying Thor, the body flicker technique was enough. After using the body flicker technique, Rog's speed exceeded the limit that the human eye could capture, so it caused the effect of disappearing in an instant. When his figure reappeared, the terrorist who had shouted at him covered his neck in incomparable pain. Bright red blood continuously gushed out from between his fingers. After dealing with this terrorist, Rog did not intend to stop and used the body flicker technique several more times. Every time his figure appeared, a terrorist would fall to the ground and never get up again. From the moment the first terrorist fell to the ground to the moment the other 7 terrorists fell to the ground, only a short 3 seconds had elapsed. This kind of ghost-like killing method completely stunned this group of terrorists. A look of horror appeared on each of their faces. Not only were these terrorists frightened, even Coulson, who was sitting in the car, had an expression of disbelief. Is this guy really human? As a special agent, Coulson had seen many bloody massacres. However, it was his first time seeing someone like Rog. He could easily take someone's life with a raise of his hand. The massacre was as smooth as flowing water, showing a different kind of beauty. Is this a ninja? Coulson felt that it was necessary for him to re-understand the ancient profession of ninja. After the initial panic, the remaining terrorists finally reacted. They raised the automatic rifles in their hands, intending to vent all the bullets on Rog. However, their idea was destined to remain as an idea. After perceiving that they had the intention to resist, Rog instantly used the body fixation technique and completely restrained their movements. The remaining more than a dozen terrorists seemed to have lost their souls. They stayed motionless in the same place, maintaining the action of trying to raise their guns. Looking at the extremely strange scene in front of him, Coulson swallowed unconsciously, and then silently remembered this ability that he didn't know how to name. After binding all the remaining terrorists in place, Rog returned to the car without looking back and said to Coulson, "You are an agent, I will leave the matter of inquiring information to you. This kind of boring work needs to be solved by professionals." After hesitating for a few seconds, Coulson opened the door and walked out, coming to the group of terrorists who couldn't even move a finger. After removing all the weapons from these more than a dozen terrorists, Coulson motioned to Rog to remove his ability. After Rog lifted the body fixation technique, these terrorists finally regained their ability to move, and then unconsciously took a few steps back. After regaining their ability to move, the first thought of these terrorists was to escape, the farther the better. But in the end, they gave up this idea and stood silently, looking at Coulson without saying a word. After a short communication, Coulson successfully learned the whereabouts of Tony Stark from these terrorists. Although this group of terrorists is not a good person, they have nothing to do with the Ten Ring gang who kidnapped Tony. Of course, as colleagues in the same area, they have a detailed understanding of the recent actions of the Ten Ring gang. They don't know that the Ten Ring gang kidnapped the famous Tony Stark. They only know that the Ten Ring gang kidnapped an American arms dealer under the protection of the US military, and then imprisoned the arms dealer in a base more than 100 kilometers away from here. After repeatedly confirming the location of the base several times, Coulson returned to the car and relayed the information to Rog. "What are you going to do with these people?" Before driving, Coulson suddenly asked. "What else can I do? Of course, I'll let them go. I'm not a psychopathic murderer." After Coulson and Rog drove away, these terrorists finally breathed a sigh of relief, and then began to regret coming out of the cave. If they didn't come out, they wouldn't have met the man who was like the Grim Reaper, and they wouldn't have lost 8 people inexplicably. The off-road vehicle was getting farther and farther away, but these terrorists still didn't leave, nor did they pick up the weapons that were thrown on the ground. Being a terrorist is too dangerous. Do they really want to continue? When Coulson drove the off-road vehicle to the cave where Tawny was imprisoned, Tawny and Ethan were also speeding up the assembly of the battle suit. In this cave with several monitors, if the terrorists outside found out that they were assembling battle suits and not Jericho missiles, then they wouldn't have to think about how to leave this cave. At this time, Raza, who was in another cave, felt a little uneasy today. After kidnapping Tony Stark, this was the first time he felt this way. As a member of the Ten Ring gang, and a member of a high position, Raza has always believed in his intuition. This is why he was able to go from an ordinary member of the Ten Ring gang to one of the leaders with his own base and subordinates step by step. Under the guidance of his intuition, Raza came to the cave where the surveillance screens were placed, intending to learn about Tony Stark's work progress. "Where's Tony Stark?" Where is he? On the surveillance screen, Raza saw the busy Ethan, but he didn't see Tani at all. He was just here. A member of the 10-ring gang beside Raza quickly replied. Go and see what's going on. For some reason, the uneasiness in Raza's heart became more and more obvious. Chapter 7. Ethan. Ethan. Stark. Two terrorists with automatic rifles ran to the cave where Tani was held, opened the observation hole on the iron door, and shouted loudly. Say something, answer him. Tani whispered to Ethan, who was helping him put on the battle suit. This is Hungarian, I don't speak it. Then just say a few Hungarian words. Ethan had no choice but to stop what he was doing and reply casually in his uncertain Hungarian. But obviously, Ethan's answer did not satisfy the terrorists at the door, and they continued to ask loudly. A few seconds later, the terrorists who did not get any further answer from Ethan motioned to their companions to open the iron door of the cave. Boom! The moment the terrorists opened the iron door, a violent explosion blasted the heavy iron door and the terrorists at the door away. After seeing this scene on the monitor, Raza, who had always been very cold, finally changed his expression and immediately issued an order. Everyone, take your weapons, don't let Stark escape. The next second, Raza suddenly remembered something, picked up the walkie-talkie in front of him, and issued a second order. Don't kill Stark, I want him alive. At this time, Ethan continued to help Tani put on the battle suit in the cave. How's the effect? Tani, who had entered the battle suit, could not see the effect of the explosion, so he asked Ethan in front of him. The effect is very good. Of course, this is the bomb I made. Tani never doubted his ability, the reason why he asked Ethan was just to prove his thoughts. I'm almost done. Ethan's tone became a little excited. Wait, start the power system first. Ethan put down the wire in his hand that was about to be connected, turned around, and came to a shabby but functional computer. What should I do? The computer installed the program to start the power system of the battle suit, but this program was completed by Tani alone, so Ethan did not know how to start the program. Press the function key F11, tell me when you see the progress bar. Under Tani's guidance, Ethan successfully activated the power system of the battle suit and returned to Tani to continue his previous work. After completing the final assembly of the battle suit, Ethan returned to the computer with an uneasy expression. We need more time. The installation of the power system of the battle suit was less than half completed, and it would take a lot of time to complete the installation. Hey, I'll go buy you some time. Then, ignoring Tani's dissuasion, he ran to the side of the dead terrorist and picked up the automatic rifle on the ground. Ethan. Tani in the Iron Man armor shouted loudly, hoping to stop Ethan from leaving. However, Ethan didn't look back. He picked up the automatic rifle in his hand and ran outside. At the same time, he pulled the trigger. Bang 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 bang, bang bang bang, bang bang. As the gunshots got further and further away, Tani's expression became more and more serious. It didn't take long for Tani in the battle suit to hear a fierce gunshot, and then there were no more gunshots. Relying on the time bought by Ethan, the final installation of the power system of the battle suit was finally completed. At the moment when the system was completed, there was a sound of mechanical assembly in the cave, and the originally bright cave quickly dimmed and became dark. At this time, on the rugged mountain road 20 to 30 kilometers away from the cave, Rog, sitting in the off-road vehicle, suddenly felt a distinctive energy fluctuation. This energy fluctuation? Damn it, it's still too slow. Although Rog had not been in contact with the arc reactor before, he was sure that the energy fluctuation just now was caused by the arc reactor on Tani's chest. In this backward mountainous area of Afghanistan, it is impossible for other high-end technology to exist, so the energy fluctuation can only come from the arc reactor on Tani's chest. There is only one possibility for the energy output from the arc reactor to increase to this intensity in an instant, and that is, Tani activated the Iron Man armor Mark I. If Tani did not activate Mark I, Rog would not have been able to sense the energy output from the arc reactor. The amount of energy needed to prevent the shrapnel from entering the heart was too small to be accurately sensed. But now it's different. When Mark I was activated, the arc reactor on Tani's chest output a huge amount of energy, which allowed Rog to perceive Tani's location. Something happened to Tani, I have to go first. As soon as his voice fell, his figure disappeared from the off-road vehicle. Although he sensed Tani's location, Rog was a little depressed because Tani was now more than 20 kilometers away from him. Without the Flying Thor technique, he could only rely on the body flicker technique to hurry on his way. Although the body flicker technique can make the caster's speed exceed the limit of what the human eye can capture, causing the effect of flashing. But in the end, this ninjutsu is just gathering chakra on the feet, and then relying on the strengthening of chakra to move at high speed. In other words, you still have to run on your own, but the body flicker technique can make you run a little faster. I hate running, especially this kind of long-distance ultra-high-speed running. Although he complained like this, Rog did not lift the body flicker technique on his body. His whole person disappeared like a flash, and then appeared hundreds of meters away, and then kept repeating this process. While Rog was using the body flicker technique to rush on his way, Tani was wearing the Iron Man armor and fighting terrorists. Although Mark I looks a bit rough from the outside, this does not affect its power. The guns in the hands of the terrorists were simply unable to penetrate the outer shell of the Mark I. Tony, who was wearing the Mark I, was like an invulnerable god of war as he rampaged through the dark passageway, continuously walking towards the exit outside. When Tani solved the terrorists in the passage, he finally saw the exit and saw Ethan, who was shot and fell to the ground. Be careful. Ethan, lying in a pool of blood, shouted at Tani. Ethan's warning was accompanied by a grenade fired from a rifle. Boom! The grenade flew dozens of centimeters in front of Tani, blowing a big hole in the wall in front of him. The one who fired the grenade was none other than Raza. After seeing Ethan rush out alone regardless of life and death, Raza roughly guessed Tani's plan. As a top weapon inventor, Tony Stark would never be unprepared. So, when all his men went in to arrest Tani, Raza himself did not go in, but stayed at the hole with his weapon, waiting for Tani to come out by himself. I don't know if Raza's marksmanship is too bad or Tani's luck is too good. The grenade did not cause any damage to Tani. In return, Tani activated the small missile on the left hand of Mark I and gave Raza a more powerful gift. Chapter 8. Boom! Just like Raza's grenade, Tani's small missile also missed its target. Instead, it hit the wall behind Raza. The huge explosion blasted a big hole in the wall, and the splashing gravel buried Raza. Although the small missile didn't hit Raza directly, it also made him unable to fight and move. Tani didn't care too much about Raza's situation. He quickly walked to Ethan, who was constantly bleeding, and opened the steel helmet's visor. Stark! Ethan called out to Tani weakly. Get up, let's go. Tani looked at Ethan, who was getting weaker and weaker, and said slowly, even if it's for me, you have to get up and follow our plan. Actually, this is my plan. Ethan's voice became weaker, and his breathing became more difficult. Get up, you still have to see your family. Although Tani didn't have much experience in battle, he knew very well that once Ethan's spirit relaxed, Ethan would never be able to stand up again. My family is dead, I'm going to see them soon. Tani was silent. He didn't know what else he could do now. Don't worry, I have nothing to worry about. After hearing Ethan's answer, Tani was silent for a few seconds with a solemn expression. Then he sighed weakly and said to Ethan very seriously, thank you for saving my life. Then cherish it, don't waste your life. After that, Ethan took a few painful breaths, and then slowly closed his eyes. Watching Ethan die, Tawny's heart surged with an uncontrollable anger as he controlled Mark I to walk toward the cave entrance. In the dark cave entrance, the figure of Mark I became clearer and clearer. Outside the cave, there were dozens of terrorists with rifles in their hands, aiming their muzzles at the entrance of the cave. When Mark I walked out of the cave, these terrorists shouted and pulled the trigger at the same time. The bullets hit Mark I like a bomb, and the sound of metal hitting metal rang out continuously. The impact of the bullets made Tawny, who was wearing Mark I, shake a little, but none of the bullets penetrated the armor of Mark I. After shooting for a few seconds, the terrorists stopped shooting and looked at Mark I at the entrance of the cave with a panicked expression. "It's my turn now." As soon as he finished speaking, Tawny activated the flamethrower on Mark I's hands. Flames flew out like two torrents, igniting the terrorists gathered at the entrance of the cave. Under the shocking flame attack, these terrorists retreated one after another, trying to avoid the flame attack. Even so, many terrorists were still hit by the flames, and their bodies were covered in flames. Tawny's target was not only these terrorists, but also the weapons placed everywhere, the weapons from Stark Industries. The boxes containing all kinds of weapons were ignited one by one, and the sound of explosions rang out continuously. Just as Tawny was about to destroy all the weapons from Stark Industries, the terrorists on the mountainside pulled the trigger of a heavy machine gun. The power of a heavy machine gun was far greater than that of an ordinary rifle. Mark I, which was hit by a heavy machine gun bullet, finally stopped moving forward. Even Mark I, which was made of steel, could not withstand the continuous attack of a heavy machine gun. Tawny raised his right hand in front of him to avoid being hit directly in the head by a heavy machine gun bullet. At the same time, the terrorists who were not hit by the flames also began to fight back, and bullets flew from all corners to Mark I. The dense bullets hit Mark I, and several of them hit the right leg track of Mark I, which was not covered by steel. As the right leg track was broken, Mark I, which weighed hundreds of kilograms, instantly lost the ability to move forward. The huge weight pressed Tawny to one knee. Even so, Tawny still had no intention of leaving immediately, and continued to attack the boxes containing weapons with the flamethrower. Explosions continued to sound in this unknown valley. After barely standing up, Tawny raised his left hand and pressed the jet button on his left arm. Although Mark I did not have the ability to fly, it had the ability to fly for a short period of time, which was also Tawny's last card to escape. After pressing the injection button, the Mark I didn't fly up as Tawny had imagined. Instead, it stayed in place without any reaction. Mechanical failure. This word quickly flashed through Tawny's mind. Then, Tawny decisively gave up his plan to fly away and threw himself to the ground and covered his head with his hands. Boom! 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 After being burned by the flames, the weapons from Stark Industries exploded without any suspense, and the whole valley was instantly enveloped by the flames of the explosion. The powerful explosion swept through the valley, engulfing the terrorists who had not had time to escape. When the flames of the explosion gradually dissipated, the whole valley was in a mess. The traces of the explosion could be seen everywhere, and the guns and terrorist corpses scattered everywhere proved the power of the explosion. When everything returned to calm, Mark I, which fell to the ground, shook with difficulty, and then began to disintegrate. Because of the protection of Mark I, Tawny did not suffer too much damage. Except for his bad image, everything else was okay. Tawny, who came out of Mark I, glanced around. After confirming that there were no living terrorists around, he sat on the ground exhausted and gasped heavily. Not long after Tawny sat down, a figure appeared behind him and hit him hard in the back of the head with the butt of a gun. The sudden attack made Tawny faint. Before he completely lost consciousness, he saw a familiar face. The one who attacked Tawny was not someone else, but Raza, who had just been attacked by him with a small missile. The huge explosion woke up the buried Raza. After trying to climb out of the rubble, what appeared in front of him was a messy valley and Tawny, who was sitting on the ground and resting. Looking at the destroyed weapons and his men who had completely lost their lives, Raza wanted to shoot Tani directly in the head, but after seeing Mark I not far from Tani, he suddenly changed his mind. After an unknown amount of time, the unconscious Tani woke up again. When he opened his eyes, the first thing that appeared in front of him was the angry Raza. "Stark, I have to admit, I still underestimated you," Raza said while playing with the dagger. Tani did not speak, just looked at Raza silently. "I asked you to help me make Jericho missiles, and you made this thing." After that, Raza pointed to Mark I next to him, and then continued, "You killed my men and destroyed my weapons. I could have killed you now. But I'm willing to give you another chance. I'll provide you with the materials you want, and you help me make 20 sets of this armor. Not the current prototype, but the complete version that can be mass-produced. As long as you can do it, I'll let you go." Chapter 9. Tani, who was tied to the chair, looked at Raza as if he was an idiot, and then said sarcastically, "Do you think I, Tani Stark, am an idiot? Even if I help you build 20 sets of Iron Man armors, you will never let me go. The only thing you will do is to continue to imprison me in an unknown cave after you get the Iron Man armor and make me your slave forever." Tani's face at this time had no fear, only determination. "Kill me, I, Tani Stark, will never help you build any weapon, even if it's a bullet. You don't have to think that I will help you build it. Come on, shoot me. Aren't you a terrorist? Shoot me. Shoot me in the forehead and heart, you trash that is worse than a paramecium. Or, you are an incomplete life form, a frog with congenital Mongolian disease, a chimpanzee with yin-yang imbalance, a half-plant with decaying vitality, and a dino who degenerates 3 times a day. You don't even have the courage to shoot me. I even doubt that you can find the position of the pistol trigger with your brain cells that don't even have double digits." After saying that, Tony spat a mouthful of saliva at Raza who was in front of him. "If this is your last wish, then I will help you realize it now." As soon as his voice fell, Raza pulled out the pistol clipped to his waist and pointed it directly at Tani's forehead. "Farewell, Tani Stark." Just at the moment when Raza was about to pull the trigger, an indescribable strange force enveloped him in an instant, completely depriving him of the ability to control his body. The 6 men around him also enjoyed the same treatment as Raza. "Tani Stark, there is still a gap between your level of cursing and your IQ. If you want to provoke others, you can use the method of directly greeting the other party's mother, which will be much simpler." A voice with rapid gasps came from outside, and then a man with a sweaty face slowly walked in. The person who came in was none other than Rog, who had used the body flicker technique to travel more than 20 kilometers. In order to prevent any accidents from happening to Tani, he didn't dare to stop for even a moment. Along the way, he continuously used dozens of body flicker technique. Only then did he arrive before Raza opened fire. After coming in, he didn't even have time to kill Raza directly. He could only use the immobilization spell to stop Raza from shooting. "Who are you?" Tani wasn't affected by the body immobilization spell. He was the only person in the cave who still had the ability to speak other than Rog. "My name is Rog. I'm a private investigator. As for why I'm here, the reason is very simple. Someone asked me to come here and save you." While answering Tani's question, Rog found an unopened bottle of mineral water in the cave and drank a few mouthfuls to calm his throat down. After helping Tani untie the rope on his body, Rog took the pistol from Raza's hand and casually threw it to Tani, who was exercising his wrist. "The people who are still alive here, except for me and you, are only a few of them. As for how to deal with them, you decide." After that, Rog left the cave and didn't care about what happened next. After being affected by his body immobilization spell, Raza and others couldn't resist at all, so there was no need to worry about whether Tani would have any accidents. After waiting for a few minutes in the messy valley outside, gunshots came from the cave, and 10 seconds later, an explosion came from the cave. Tani walked out of the cave with a dignified expression and asked Rog, "Who asked you to save me, Colonel Rhodes?" "It's not him, it's someone you don't know yet. He's driving over now. You'll see him in a while." After waiting for nearly half an hour in the valley, Coulson, who was driving an oversized off-road vehicle, finally arrived at the valley, then went straight to Tani and extended his right hand to Tani. "Hello, Mr. Stark, my name is Coulson, an agent of the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Bureau." Tani shook hands with Coulson with a puzzled expression. He was sure that he didn't know Coulson, let alone the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Bureau. "Well, I'll stop here for the self-introduction. Coulson, now you can give me the commission reward. Are you in such a hurry?" Although Coulson didn't know why Rog wanted the commission reward now, he still took out his custom-made mobile phone and transferred $50,000 to Rog's bank account. At the moment when Coulson completed the transfer, the commission in the system was also changed to a completed state, and 10 ninja coins were also sent to Rog. Ninja coins not consumed, 305. The commission has been officially completed, then the rest of the things are up to you to deal with. After that, Rog began to perceive the flying Thor technique at his home in New York. Because he had already performed a super long-distance perception, the second perception was a lot easier. After establishing a connection with the Thor technique at his home in New York, Rog directly flying Thunder God, and instantly disappeared in front of Coulson and Tani. He disappeared? Watching Rog disappear in an instant, a look of disbelief appeared on Tani's face. To be precise, he didn't disappear, he returned to New York. Coulson answered silently. After returning to his home in New York, Roger didn't immediately make the exchange. Instead, he leisurely took a shower, changed into a clean set of clothes, and had a rather sumptuous supper. After doing all this, he went to the Transform Gym and opened the system's exchange page. "Do you want to spend 300 ninja coins to exchange for 3 Tomo Sharingan?" "Yes." At the moment when he made the confirmation, an inexplicable force gathered in his eyes, and the transformation was completed in an instant. When he opened his eyes again, he saw his eyes in the gym's mirror, which were completely different. Blood red, 3 Tomo. The Uchiha clan's Kekkei Genkai is finally in his hands. Sharingan has the ability to observe, copy, hypnotize, and so on. It can give the holder extraordinary insight, observe the flow of chakra, apply and see through genjutsu, and copy taijutsu and ninjutsu that are not Kekkei Genkai. This is the real Sharingan, or the ability of Sharingan in Naruto's world. Because Rog is not in Naruto's world, but in Marvel's world, the system also made some small adjustments to the Sharingan's Kekkei Genkai. The ability to observe the flow of chakra has been changed to observe the flow of energy, and the ability to copy ninjutsu that is not Kekkei Genkai has also been adjusted to copy the extraordinary ability that is not given by genetic mutation and racial bloodline. Chapter 10. Rog wasn't surprised that the system adjusted the ability of Sharingan. He had already experienced it once when he exchanged the chakra perception of second Hokage sensei. Moreover, the system adjusted the ability to copy the ninjutsu without Kekkei Genkai to copy the extraordinary ability without genetic mutation and racial bloodline, which is also a good thing. In this world, he is the only one who has chakra and ninjutsu, and he can't copy his own ninjutsu. So he is quite satisfied with the system's adjustment. Copying the extraordinary ability without genetic mutation and racial bloodline, that is to say, he can't copy the abilities of Spider-Man and Groot. As for whether he can copy Thor's ability to summon lightning and Doctor Strange's magic, he can't be sure for the time being. After a little adaptation to the newly acquired 3 Tomo Sharingan, Rog opened his property panel. Host, Rog Profession, Ninja Talent, No Seal Casting, 7 Attribute Chakra Kekkei Genkai, 3 Tomo Sharingan Ninjutsu, Substitute Technique, Flicker Technique, Fixed Body Technique, Shadow Clone Technique, Flying Thor, Chakra Perception Lightning Release, Chidori Fire Release, Great Fire Annihilation Water Release, Water Iron Cannon Genjutsu, Dark Walk Chakra Amount, 5 Kalun-consumed ninja coins. 5 There is an additional Kekkei Genkai with 3 Tomo Sharingan, other attributes have not changed, and the amount of chakra has not increased. The only thing that he cares about now is that the amount of ninja coins is a little pitiful. 5 ninja coins can't even be exchanged for the most basic ninjutsu. The only thing that can be exchanged are some common ninja tools and the system's special commission scrolls. The scroll that Roger used to accept the commission wasn't made by him, but it was exchanged from the system. 1 ninja coin was exchanged for 1 scroll. The reason why he chose the commission carefully is because the commission scroll also needs to consume ninja coins. If the request is written on the scroll, but it doesn't pass the system's judgment, it means that he wasted a ninja coin. Therefore, before deciding whether or not to accept the commission, he would ask the client to describe the commission's content and judge whether or not it was possible for the commission to pass the system's judgment. He would not write down everything on the scroll. Of course, his judgment might not be accurate. Only the system could decide whether the commission would pass the judgment. Next, should I exchange for the Manjikyu Sharingan or Hashirama's would release? It's a bit of a dilemma. Whether it is Manjikyu Sharingan or would release, both are abilities that Rogue yearns for. But the price of these 2 abilities is not cheap. Manjikyu Sharingan costs 200 ninja coins, and Mokuton costs 500 ninja coins. In terms of price, Manjikyu Sharingan is much cheaper, but this exchange price is based on the fact that you already have 3 Tomo Sharingan. If you don't have the 3 Tomo Sharingan, the exchange price of Manjikyu Sharingan is 500 ninja coins, the same price as would release. Forget it, let's not think too much about it. I only have 5 ninja coins now, no matter which one I exchange, it will take a long time, I'll think about it later. After familiarizing himself with the 3 Tomo Sharingan in the transform gym, Rogue returned to his bedroom and began his interrupted sleep. New York, in a secret base of the hand. Now we can confirm that the person who slaughtered more than 100 of our ninjas is the private detective named Rogue. Murakami said while wiping his katana. Let's do this. I propose that we use all the strength of the organization to kill this audacious boy. The dignity of the hand will not be trampled by anyone. Savant, sitting on the right-hand side of Murakami, said with a roaring tone while slamming his hands on the table in front of him. I agree. Boto, sitting opposite Savant, agreed with Savant's opinion. It's easy to say, you have seen the battle scene in the warehouse and the scars on the corpses. That kind of amazing flame attack and the artistic way of killing, which one of you can resist? Alexandra, next to Boto, said disdainfully. We still have hundreds of fearless ninjas, we still have Kuroku. Savant fiercely refuted. Looking at Savant, who was getting more and more agitated, Mrs. Gao, who had been silent, slowly said, even if Kuroku makes a move, he may not be able to kill Rogue. And I suspect that Rogue is the bait thrown by the Holiness Church in order to make us come out in full force. After hearing the name of the Holiness Church, even the most irritable Savant couldn't help but be silent. There are not many organizations that can make the hand pay attention to, and the Holiness Church, as a ninja organization, is the most important one. The Holiness Church and the Hand were like 2 sides of a coin. They had been fighting each other for hundreds of years, but neither had destroyed the other. If Rogue was really related to the Holiness Church, then this matter was no longer a simple revenge. Even if Rogue is related to the Holiness Church, we can't just do nothing. Once the hand is no longer feared, then the hand is no longer the hand. Murakami put down the katana in his hand and said seriously. As a ninja organization, the reason why the Hand is famous in this world is because they are cruel and bloody enough. A hand that was no longer feared was like a viper that had lost its fangs. Let's find out about the Holiness Church's recent movements first. During this time, let the New York police find trouble with them. After all, New York is still a legal society. Mrs. Gao's suggestion was eventually approved by Murakami and the others. While Mrs. Gao and others were discussing how to deal with Rog, Tani, who had safely returned to the U.S. military base and done a detailed physical examination, found Coulson and asked about Rog. "That Rog, who is he?" "Private detective, didn't he tell you?" Coulson answered casually. After sending Tani back to the U.S. military base, he also began to return to New York. "Private detective? I watched him disappear in front of me, and he also magically froze those terrorists so that they couldn't even move a finger. This is not something a private detective can do. No, this is not something a human can do." Tani was very dissatisfied with Coulson's answer, and his tone became a little impatient. "Mr. Stark, this world is not exactly the same as the world you understand, and science is not everything in this world. If you really want to know who he is, you can find the answer yourself." After that, Coulson took out a piece of paper with the address and bank account number of Rog's firm and handed it to Tani. Chapter 11. After handing the paper to Tani, Coulson didn't say anything and went straight to the plane that was about to take off. When Coulson's figure completely disappeared from the plane, Tani was still thinking about Coulson's words. For a genius inventor, science is all the truth he believes in. But now, Tani began to doubt whether his beliefs were really correct. After a comfortable sleep, Rog planned to fly directly to the office by Thor. But after seeing his blood-red 3-tomo Sharingan, he hesitated for a few seconds. With his current amount of chakra, even if he keeps his Sharingan open 24 hours a day, it won't affect him much. And if he keeps his Sharingan open all the time, he will look more handsome. Handsome or low-key, this is the question. After thinking about it for a few seconds, Rog finally made a decision. Handsome is a matter of life. So before going to the office, he turned off his Sharingan and changed back to his normal appearance. When he came to his very simple office through Thor, he found a man in a dark gray suit and dark red sunglasses sitting on the sofa in the office. In front of the man, there is a cup of steaming coffee, and on his right hand, there is a blind man's stick. Rog is no stranger to this person. Or rather, he is no stranger to this person's other identity. The person sitting on the sofa is a blind lawyer named Matt Murdock, and behind his back, he has another identity called Daredevil. When he was in Hell's Kitchen before, Rog met this Daredevil. But it was limited to meeting, they didn't have any dealings with each other. "Hello, I'm Matt Murdock, a lawyer." After teleporting to the office, Rog didn't make any sound, but Matt still perceived his arrival. Although Matt didn't know how Rog appeared, he heard Rog's slowly beating heartbeat. "Rog, private detective." After that, Rog came to his desk and sat on the custom-made sofa. He didn't take the initiative to ask Matt about his plans, but silently waited for Matt to speak. Time passed by, and the office fell into a strange silence. 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, after more than 20 minutes, they still didn't speak. However, their silent confrontation was finally interrupted. It wasn't another client who interrupted them, but 2 New York police officers. "Hello, are you Mr. Rog?" The leading white male police officer asked Rog very politely. Seeing the white male police officer's attitude, the black partner next to him was taken aback for a moment, but he quickly reacted. It was said that Luo Gu was the psychopathic murderer who had slaughtered 115 gangsters. After thinking of this, the black police officer unconsciously put his right hand on the pistol at his waist. "Yes, I am Rog." Although the black police officer's actions weren't big, they didn't escape Rog's eyes. After seeing this scene, a few thoughts quickly flashed in his mind. Why would he appear at such a time, and in such a polite and vigilant manner? If he guessed correctly, these 2 police officers should be here for the warehouse case. Rog was sure that he had never left any evidence in the warehouse. Whether it was fingerprints or clothes fibers, he had never left anything. And before leaving the warehouse, he also confirmed that there were no surveillance cameras in the warehouse. In that case, the answer to why the two police officers were here was obvious. Other than himself, only Kingpin's people knew that he had killed those people in the warehouse. He couldn't report himself, so it could only be Kingpin who reported the news to the New York police. Rog's guess was generally correct. The only difference was that Kingpin did not report the news to the police, but he publicized the news thoroughly. So now not only the police know the news, but also the hand of the police. 2 days ago, in a warehouse next to the Hudson River, there was a gang fight. 115 gangsters died at the scene, so we hope that Mr. Rog can come back to the police station with us to assist in the investigation of this case. Of course, if it's convenient for you. The white police officer used gentle words as much as possible. Although there was no substantial evidence to prove that the case was done by Rog, he knew very well that the possibility of Rog being the murderer was more than 90%. At this time, the white police officer silently cursed his immediate superior in his heart. Didn't I just flirt with his sister-in-law? Does he have to hate me so much? He even assigned this kind of task to me. The white male police officer had seen the hell-like warehouse with his own eyes. He knew very well that if the seemingly harmless Rog in front of him went crazy, he and his partner had no intention of leaving alive. Those who died in the warehouse were not gangsters. They were ninjas of the hand of the police. Only those idiot reporters would treat the ninjas of the hand of the police as ordinary gangsters. "Officer, what's your name?" Rog did not answer his question but asked his name. "Jack, my name is Jack." When answering, Jack involuntarily used a respectful tone in front of the chief. "Officer Jack, I am a private detective. I am personally happy to assist the police in the investigation of the case. After all, I am also a person who is willing to cooperate with the police. But you see, I happen to have a client here now, so..." Rog didn't say it clearly, but he was sure that Jack understood what he meant. "Understood, I understand. Since Mr. Rog is not convenient for you now, then I won't bother you. If it's convenient for you, you can come directly to our police station. Then I won't disturb your work, goodbye." After that, Jack bowed slightly to Rog, then left the office with his partner as quickly as possible, and carefully closed the door of the office gently. "Since you admit that I am your client, can I commission you now?" When Jack and his partner left, Matt, who was sitting on the sofa, stood up and went straight to Rog. "First, tell me the content of your commission, then I will decide whether to accept your commission or not." Chapter 12. I hope you can come with me to save my girlfriend, Erica. When he heard the word girlfriend, Rog suddenly felt that he didn't want to work today. But after thinking about the only 5 ninja coins he currently has, his patience has increased a lot. "Tell me clearly, what's going on?" "I met Erica in college. At that time, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, but later, we broke up." "You can skip this part. What's going on? Why is there no end to this?" "I had a martial arts teacher, but later, for some reason, Erica also became my teacher's student. She wanted to join one of my teacher's organizations, but was rejected by my teacher. In order to prove her ability, she infiltrated the hand, hoping to destroy the hand from the inside and prove her ability. More than 10 days ago, I met her by chance in Hell's Kitchen, but she attacked me with the hand's ninja as if she didn't know me. I was lucky enough to escape, and later, I went to find her several times, but she still didn't know me and has been chasing me. I suspect that she has been brainwashed by the hand, so I hope you can come with me to save her. I can't do this by myself, but 2 days ago, I heard about you, so I decided to come here to ask for your help." After patiently listening to Matt's description, Rog roughly understood the ins and outs of the matter. "First of all, she's not your girlfriend, she's your ex-girlfriend. Or, you can treat her as your junior sister. You have to remember this when you write the commission. In addition, I'm still a little interested in your commission, but there is one last step to accept your commission. After that, Rog took out one of the only 2 scrolls in the drawer and opened it on the desk. Write down the contents of the commission. It doesn't have to be too complicated, you don't have to write the ins and outs, just write the person, the result, and the commission reward. Judging from Rog's past experience, the possibility of this commission passing the judgment was very high. Not only did it involve the Hand of Hand, but it also involved the Holiness Church, Erica, and Daredevil Matt, so if nothing unexpected happened, there should be no problem in passing the judgment. Sure enough, as he had expected, after Matt signed his name at the end of the commission scroll, a new commission appeared in the system's commission column. Mission content: get Erica out of hand control. Mission status: incomplete. Mission reward: 20 ninja coins. When he saw that the commission reward was 20 ninja coins, Rog was slightly stunned. After rescuing the kidnapped Tani, the system gave a reward of 10 ninja coins. This system seems to favor women over men. This is not good at all. When he put away the commission scroll, Rog glanced at the commission reward that Matt had marked out. 500,000 USD. That's not right. Isn't it said that Daredevil is very poor? This doesn't look like it. Or is it the power of love? After putting away the commission scroll, Rog said to Matt, the commission reward will be paid within 12 hours after the commission is completed. Is that okay with you? Rog wasn't worried about Matt reneging on his debt, but this was a habit of his. Even Kingpin's commission was the same, although Kingpin later reneged on his debt. No problem. Matt nodded, indicating that he had no problem with it. Then when do you want us to leave? Although I can do it any time, I suggest waiting until the evening. When he described the contents of the commission just now, Matt was already prepared for Daredevil's identity to be exposed, so he knew very well why Rog suggested that they act at night. Gather on the roof of my law firm at 10 o'clock tonight. Matt handed a business card to Rog with the detailed address of his law firm. After Matt left, Rog continued to lie on his sofa in an incomparably lazy way, thinking about whether he should visit his old friend Kingpin now. But in the end, he gave up the idea. Although Kingpin's deliberate act of leaking the news was disgusting, his intuition told him that this might bring him unexpected developments, and maybe he could get a few more commissions as a result. While he was waiting for the night to come with nothing to do, Tawny returned to New York accompanied by Colonel Rhodes, and then held a press conference as soon as possible. I'm awake, and I realize that I can contribute more to the world than weapons. So, I've decided to close the Stark Industries weapons department, effective immediately. When Tawny said this to the media, all the media at the press conference boiled up. Obadiah Stani also came to Tawny's side for the first time and euphemistically asked Tawny to leave the stage. The focus of the press conference is that Tawny is back, and he is healthier than ever. We will discuss it further and give you the latest news. When Tawny left the stage, Obadiah tried to say a few words and then hurriedly ended the press conference. It seems that you still intend to embark on the path of becoming Iron Man. Not bad, that's good. After watching this press conference, which was not much different from what he remembered, Rog turned off the TV, came to the window of the law firm, and looked at the Stark building in the distance. Time flashed by, and at 10 o'clock in the evening, Rog, who had changed into a black combat suit, appeared on the roof of Matt's law firm on time. At this time, Matt was no longer dressed as a blind lawyer during the day, but he had changed into Daredevil's classic dark red battle suit, and his blind cane had been replaced with a dark red multi-purpose short stick. Let's go. When Rog arrived, Daredevil Matt didn't say much and rushed directly to Erica's hand base. In order to avoid some unnecessary trouble, Matt didn't choose the normal path, but kept jumping forward with Rog on the roof of Hell's Kitchen. Unlike Rog, who has chakra, when encountering a building that cannot be crossed, the multi-purpose short stick in Matt's hand will turn into two short sticks connected by a rope, and then he will throw the hooked side to the opposite side, and finally cross the distance between the buildings like Spider-Man. Looking at the exclusive weapon in Daredevil's hand, Rog couldn't help but have an idea. Having an exclusive weapon and not having an exclusive weapon are really two different images. This also made him consider whether to exchange special ninja tools from the system as an exclusive weapon. For example, Sasuke's Kusanagi sword, Zabuza's beheading sword, and Uchiha Madara's flame fan are pretty good. Chapter 13. With Daredevil Matt leading the way, Rog and Daredevil soon came to a secret base in Hell's Kitchen of the Hand. Looking at the office-like base in front of him, Rog imagined the scene of the hand-of-hand ninja changing into a formal suit and clocking in to work every day. When they go out to perform tasks, they may have to submit an application to the logistics department before they can get a ninja sword used to cut people. Are you sure it's here? After coming to the top of a building next to the building, Rog used chakra perception to sense the situation inside the building and found that there were not many people inside, not even as many people as in the previous warehouse. Yes, I've been investigating this place for a long time. On the surface, this is the office base of a Japanese transportation company, but in fact, this is one of the most important bases of the Hand in Hell's Kitchen. Every time there is a large task, many hand-of-hand ninjas will gather here. It seems that because it's night, Matt gives people a completely different feeling than during the day, and even his personality has changed significantly. It's good that you've confirmed it. I don't want anything to go wrong when the time comes. Rog glanced at the front desk on the first floor of the building and immediately came up with a bold plan. What are you going to do? Although Daredevil Matt has never fought with Rog, he knows very well that the seemingly harmless man in front of him has strength far beyond his own. Matt even doubts whether he can survive for a minute when Rog is completely serious. I have two plans now, you can choose one you like more. First, I'll go in with you from the gate on the first floor of the building, and then I'll cut everyone I see all the way to the top floor. In this way, I can ensure that you will meet Erika halfway. Are you sure you want to do this? Although Matt hopes to save Erika from the Hand, he has never considered such a simple and straightforward plan with crazy intentions. This is not a plan at all, this is pure recklessness, simple and crude recklessness. It seems that you don't like the first plan very much. I have a second alternative. The second plan is for me to enter the building from the first floor and kill everyone I see, all the way to the top floor. As for you, you can choose to enter from another place and search for Erika. With me distracting them from the front, they shouldn't notice your presence, so you can look for Erika very calmly. After hearing Rog's second plan, Matt began to wonder if it was a mistake for him to seek Rog's help. In Rog's mind, there was no such thing as infiltration, and he didn't care about the impact it would cause. Roger looked at Matt and didn't rush him. Instead, he silently waited for him to make a decision. The customer is God. As a private detective, Rog respected his clients very much. Except for those who would go back on their word. Use the second plan. If you meet Erika, I hope you can keep her safe and not hurt her. Matt had fought Erika several times, so he was well aware of her strength. Naturally, he didn't think that Erika could hurt Rog. No problem, I'll take good care of your ex-girlfriend. As soon as he finished speaking, Roger used the body flicker technique and directly arrived on the first floor of the building. He then pushed open the door and walked in casually. The building was brightly lit, and the receptionist on the first floor and the security guards next to the lobby were all wearing the uniforms for the roles they were playing. If it weren't for the obvious calluses on their hands, this place would look no different from a normal office building. Hello, sir, who are you looking for? Rog had only taken a few steps when a hand-hand ninja in a security uniform came over and blocked his way. As a ninja, your disguise isn't good enough. The moment he heard Rog's words, the hand-hand ninja's face suddenly changed, and his right hand reached directly for the explosion-proof stick at his waist. However, before the hand-hand ninja's right hand touched the explosion-proof stick, he felt a huge force coming from his neck, and then he instantly lost consciousness. After easily twisting the neck of the hand ninja, Rog moved his neck a little, and then opened his newly acquired 3-tomo Sharingan. The moment the 3-tomo Sharingan was opened, the world in front of Rog's eyes also changed significantly. If the world before the Sharingan was in standard definition, then after the Sharingan was opened, the clarity of the world was upgraded to blue light, and the whole world was much clearer. However, this is only the super insight given by the Sharingan. After strangling the first hand ninja, Rog didn't immediately launch an attack, but gave the other hand ninjas time to come. It's too troublesome to find them one by one, so it's better to wait for them to come, and then kill them all. It has to be said that the efficiency of hand ninja is very high. In less than a minute, more than 30 hand ninjas rushed over, and without exception, all of them were fully armed. Come on, you bunch of scum. Looking at the group of vigilant hand ninjas in front of him, and exuding an amazing killing intent, Rog silently stretched out his right hand, and then raised his middle finger. Raising the middle finger is always a simple and crude provocation, and the effect is full points. The behavior of raising the middle finger even transcends the limits of race, region, and culture. Sure enough, as Rog expected, these hand ninjas who seem to never know what is the meaning of reason, after seeing his arrogant behavior, one by one rushed up, as if they are slow, there is no way to cut him a few times. Since you have the title of a ninja, I'll let you experience what real ninjutsu is. With a thought, Rog displayed the only genjutsu he has learned so far. Genjutsu, Dark Walking Technique. At the moment when the Dark Walking Technique was launched, all the light in the eyes of these hand ninjas completely disappeared, and instead, there was endless pure darkness. After using the Dark Walking Technique, Rog had no intention of provoking them, and walked straight towards the panicked hand ninjas, and started his own killing moment. While Rog was killing on the first floor of the building, Daredevil Matt also entered the building from a corner on the 5th floor. After entering the building, Matt used his extraordinary hearing to the limit, and he quickly swept through the building like a ghost, looking for Erica's trace. In the process of looking for Erica, Matt paid special attention to the situation in the lobby on the 1st floor from time to time. There were no overly exciting sounds of fighting, indicating that the destruction and impact of the battle was not great. After discovering this, Matt breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that Rog still cares about the aftermath. However, what Matt didn't expect was that at this time, the 1st floor was already covered with blood and corpses. The reason why there was no fierce sound was that the hand ninjas who could make a sound had turned into corpses that could no longer make any sound. Chapter 14. In the office on the top floor of the building, Savant and Murakami's faces were extremely ugly. In front of them was the real-time monitoring screen of the lobby on the 1st floor. Watching the ninjas of the hand being killed by Rog as quickly as slaughtering chickens, as the leaders of the hand, they couldn't help but feel an uncontrollable anger. The only difference was that after seeing this picture, the grumpy Savant directly smashed the desk in front of him, while Murakami silently pulled out the katana at his waist. This is not a battle at all. This kind of death is a shame for a ninja. Although Savant and Murakami could see the real-time monitoring screen of the lobby on the 1st floor, they didn't know what the hand ninjas had experienced. In their eyes, these highly skilled and experienced ninjas took the initiative to come to Rog, and then begged Rog to end their lives. This is not right, their behavior is very abnormal. After watching carefully for a while, Murakami was sure that the hand ninjas in the lobby on the 1st floor were in an abnormal state. But what he couldn't be sure was what kind of abnormality it was. Let Kuroku and Erika do it. If they can't do it, we can only give up here. Murakami made the final decision. The furious Savant glared fiercely at Rog on the screen, and then left the room. Savant came to a secret room on the top floor, and then rudely woke up a little boy who was sleeping. When the little boy opened his eyes, the grumpy Savant involuntarily stepped back a few steps, and then slowly said, "A powerful enemy has come here. You go and kill him and bring his head back." After that, Savant quickly left the room, unwilling to stay in the room for a second longer. The little boy who looked to be in his early teens was Kuroku, the sharpest blade in the hand, and the most powerful warrior in the hand. At the moment when Kuroku opened his eyes, Rog, who was heading to the second floor, and Daredevil Matt, who was on the fifth floor, both felt an inexplicable coldness for the first time. Interesting, it seems that tonight won't be too boring. Although the awakening of Kuroku brought a different coldness to Rog, it did not make him worry. With the 3 Tomo Sharingan, he is not afraid of any close combat. What's more, he also has ninjutsu including Flying Thor, Body Flicker, Chidori, and so on. Even if Kuroku has extraordinary strength, it can't stop him from completing the commission. Unlike Rog who didn't care, after feeling Kuroku's awakening, Daredevil Matt stopped moving forward and silently clenched the multifunctional stick in his hand. While Savant awakened Kuroku, Murakami also issued an order to Erika on the top floor to eliminate the intruder at any cost. Your will is my mission. Erika, wearing a tight red ninja suit, knelt down on one knee to Murakami, and then walked towards Rog on the second floor. Until this time, Savant and Murakami had not discovered that there was an intruder hiding on the fifth floor of the building. Perhaps it was because rogues had left a deep impression on them, or perhaps it was because they didn't realize that rogues had companions at all. After Daredevil Matt snuck in, he didn't encounter any hand ninjas, nor did any battles break out. The first floor of the building is a standard hall, and the second floor is decorated like a normal office area. As far as the eye can see, there are common office cubicles. The only difference from the normal office area is that standing in these cubicles are not white-collar workers in formal suits, but a group of ninjas with katanas in their hands. It's so late and you're still working overtime, it seems that you really love this job. As soon as Rog finished speaking, the originally brightly lit second floor fell into darkness. Hand of Hand Ninja turned off all the lights on the second floor and actively created a dark environment, trying to use the darkness to kill the intruder Rog. That's a good idea. Unfortunately, your strength can't keep up with your ideas. In Russell's hand was a katana that he snatched from the Hand Ninja on the first floor. Bright red blood was constantly dripping from the tip of the katana. The Hand Ninja on the second floor obviously didn't intend to talk nonsense with Rog. While turning off the lights, they threw smoke bombs one after another, making the already dark second floor suddenly shrouded in smoke. For a normal person, the pitch-black environment combined with the smoke was enough to put him in an extremely disadvantageous situation. Unfortunately, these Hand Ninjas weren't normal people. With the super insight granted by the 3 Tomo Sharingan, the dark environment and smoke didn't affect Rog too much. He could still clearly see the movements of these Hand Ninjas. He wondered if the higher the floor, the stronger the Hand Ninja was. In the process of fighting, Rog could clearly feel that these Hand Ninjas on the second floor were obviously stronger than those on the first floor. Although the number of Hand Ninjas on the first floor were not as much as those on the first floor, but the cooperation between them and the way they attacked were more sophisticated and more vicious. Using the not spacious environment on the second floor and their tacit cooperation with each other, these Hand Ninjas created the most favorable battle situation so far. After fighting with each other for a few minutes, Rog suddenly stopped, no longer chasing these ninjas jumping up and down, but abnormally stayed in the same place. Just as Rog stopped moving forward, a fierce attack like lightning struck towards his neck. The edge of the katana was only a few centimeters away from his neck. When the katana was about to cut Rog's neck, Rog's figure instantly flashed, and the katana cut across his neck, bringing out a beautiful line of blood. Substitution Jutsu. When perceiving the sudden attack from behind, Rog decisively used Substitution Jutsu, and instantly changed his position with a Hand Ninja not far in front of him. This Hand Ninja didn't expect that he would become the replacement target of Rog's Substitution Jutsu. He didn't have time to react, until the katana cut across his neck. He didn't know what happened. Rog didn't know many ninjutsu, so he particularly cherished each of his ninjutsu. He spent a lot of time and energy to hone and familiarize himself with each ninjutsu, and these ninjutsu were almost instinctive. For him, the level of ninjutsu is not the most important thing, the most important thing is how to use ninjutsu. Even if it is an E-class ninjutsu, as long as it is used properly, it can also play a miraculous effect. Chapter 15. None of the present hand-of-hand ninjas expected that Rog would escape this fatal blow in such a magical way. They are both ninjas and ninjutsu. But in front of Roger's ninjutsu, their ninjutsu was like a kindergarten game, meaningless. "I've been waiting for you for a long time, Erica." Although Rog didn't look back, he knew very well that the person who had just attacked him was Daredevil Matt's ex-girlfriend, Erica. After Kuroku woke up, he used chakra perception to re-perceive the situation in the building, so he knew very well who would attack him. In order to give Erica a good assassination environment, he even deliberately left a hand in the battle and did not use the power of thunder to quickly kill these hand-of-hand ninjas on the second floor. Erica didn't know how Rog did it, but after finding that the target of her attack had been replaced in an instant, she did not forcibly stop, but killed the unlucky hand-of-hand ninja and took the opportunity to readjust her posture. For the current Erica, the only people who need to pay attention to are the 5 fingers of the hand. As for the ninjas in the hand, they are not worth paying attention to at all. Not to mention that she accidentally killed a hand-of-hand ninja. Even if she killed all the hand-of-hand ninjas on the second floor, Erica would not care. "Although I promised someone that I wouldn't hurt you, looking at your current state, I don't think you'll obediently allow yourself to be captured. Moreover, I also want to see what kind of skills the students taught by the leader of Holiness Church, the old man with the staff, have." As soon as his voice fell, Rog attacked Erica like lightning. In order to let himself feel the pleasure of fighting, he didn't use any ninjutsu, he didn't even use his chakra. Although Erica has been taught by the old man with the staff, in the end, she is just an ordinary person who is proficient in fighting. When fighting with ordinary people, using ninjutsu or chakra is like opening a cheat in a game. Cheating could allow one to easily obtain victory, but it would not allow one to experience the joy of defeating an enemy. When Rog attacked her, Erica retreated and also attacked Rog. Clang! The ninja katana in Rog's hand collided with the ninja katana in Erica's hand, making a clear sound of metal colliding. The next second, Rog and Erica adjusted their postures at the same time and attacked each other with their ninja blades again. Clang! 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 In just 2 or 3 seconds, Rog and Erica had fought 5 or 6 times, but they failed to hit each other. After seeing Rog and Erica in a short stalemate, the other hand ninjas didn't hesitate at all and attacked Rog, intending to join forces with Erica to kill Rog. Fixed Body Spell. After perceiving that these hand ninjas had thoughts they shouldn't have, Rog instantly used Fixed Body Spell, completely depriving these hand ninjas of their ability to move. These hand ninjas seem to have been pressed on the pause button, strangely staying in place, maintaining the posture of running wildly. The annoying flies have been taken care of, let's continue. After seeing those hand ninjas being strangely fixed in place, Erica quickly retreated and pulled away from Rog. Although Erica has been brainwashed by hand, it doesn't mean that she has lost the ability to think. Whether it was the previous substitution technique or the fixed body spell just now, it made Erica instinctively aware of the danger. Although she hasn't personally experienced the power of these 2 ninjutsu, Erica knows very well that if she is hit by these 2 ninjutsu, her result will not be much better than those hand ninjas. After thinking for a few seconds, Erica decisively gave up her intention to continue attacking, turned around and ran without hesitation, and quickly disappeared from Rog's sight. Looking at Erica retreating quickly without looking back, Rog was stunned. Are all ninjas so decisive now? Rog thought that even if Erica noticed the huge gap between them, she would not give up easily, but would do everything possible to complete the task of killing him. But it turned out that his idea was wrong. Even if you are worried that I will use ninjutsu, you don't have to run so fast. If I really kill you, I won't be able to explain it to Matt or the system. Although he said that, in fact, he didn't know very well whether there would be any punishment from the system. In the past 3 years, he has never experienced a commission failure or a situation where he voluntarily gave up a commission, so he had no idea how the system would deal with these situations. Although Erica had disappeared from his sight, it wasn't that easy to get rid of him completely. Using chakra perception technique again, Rog quickly determined Erica's current location and the destination she planned to go to. However, his attention at this time was attracted by Daredevil Matt on the 5th floor. To be precise, he was attracted by the little boy in front of Matt. Is this Black Sky? Hand of Hand is really something. In Rog's perception, Black Sky, who was fighting with Daredevil Matt, was exuding strange dark energy all over his body. This dark energy, which was invisible to the naked eye, not only strengthened Black Sky's physique to a terrifying level, but it also gave Black Sky incredible fighting skills. Just by perceiving the situation between Matt and Black Sky, a look of uncontrollable excitement appeared on Rog's face. This kind of opponent, this kind of fighting skills, this is simply a super gift package thrown down by the goddess of luck. Without any hesitation, Rog used the body flicker technique several times in a row and came to the 5th floor of the building like lightning. As soon as he arrived on the 5th floor, a figure flew towards him quickly. After catching the figure that was sent flying like a volleyball, Rog set his eyes on Black Sky, who was more than 10 meters away. The figure that was sent flying was none other than Daredevil Matt, who had just fought with Black Sky. Although Daredevil Matt doesn't have any powerful extraordinary abilities, his years of training have given him extremely good fighting skills. But even so, he was still so vulnerable in front of Black Sky. If Rog had come a few seconds later, he might have failed his first commission because of the death of the client. The second rule of the commission is that the commission will not be considered complete until the reward indicated in the commission is received. If the client dies, even if he completes the commission will be judged to have failed because he will not be able to receive the reward. This also made him suddenly realize that there had always been a loophole in his previous service model. Completing the commission first, and then receiving the reward, this doesn't seem to be a problem. But because of the existence of the second rule of the commission, this model may directly lead to the final failure of the commission. Chapter 16. I'll collect the commission reward first in case of any accidents. Rog quickly made a decision. After seeing Rog catch Matt, Hyuko didn't immediately attack Rog. Instead, he looked at Rog like he was looking at prey. From the outside, Hyuko looked like a child in his early teens. There was nothing strange about him. However, in Rog's perception, Black Sky, who was standing in front of him, was a demon from another world, a demon with a strange appearance. Don't die, you haven't paid yet. By the way, I met Erica just now, but she ran away quickly. She should be heading to the top floor of the building now. After hearing Rog's words, Matt quickly wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, struggled to stand up, and planned to go to the top floor of the building to look for Erica. But before he could take a few steps, he fell forward uncontrollably, and then spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Don't push yourself. With your current appearance, any hand ninja can easily kill you. If you want to see Erica again, you'd better stay here like a good girl. After I deal with this guy in front of me, I will complete your commission. After that, Rog ignored Matt and walked straight toward Hyuko. After a few exchanges with Erica, several nicks appeared on the ninja sword in Rog's hand, but he didn't care about this. He waved his sword a few times as he walked. The distance between Rog and Hyuko was getting shorter and shorter. In front of people like them, this short distance of a few meters could be covered almost in an instant. But even so, they didn't attack. When Rog came to a meter in front of Hyuko, Hyuko finally moved. Hyuko jumped up and grabbed Rog's throat with his right hand like a sharp claw. Hyuko's speed was as fast as lightning, even exceeding the limit of the human eye. According to common sense, Hyuko would tear Rog's neck and take his life without any suspense. But the problem was that the person Black Sky was facing this time wasn't an ordinary person. In terms of speed, Rog had never been afraid. Just as Kuroko's right hand was about to touch Rog's neck, the ninja sword in Rog's hand had already struck his right hand. When the ninja sword touched Kuroko's skin, Rog found that something was wrong. Without any hesitation, he instantly used the body flicker technique and flashed behind Kuroko. Kuroko's right hand didn't tear Rog's neck, and Rog's ninja blade also didn't cut off Kuroko's right hand. He had actually strengthened his body to such an extent. Although he only felt it for a moment, Rog was 100% sure that the ninja blade couldn't cut off Kuroko's right hand. To be more precise, he couldn't even truly hurt Black Sky. A steel-like body was originally just a description. However, this was a fact when it came to Hei Kong. Could a beast's strength strengthen a human body to such an extent? Rog began to wonder if there were any mistakes or omissions in his previous memory. However, he quickly threw this question out of his mind. Even if a beast could really strengthen a human body to a steel-like strength, he wouldn't have the slightest fear. Even if it's real steel, I can still cut it. After the attack failed, Kuroko in midair adjusted his posture in an incredible way and attacked Rog again. Kuroko's attack speed was not slow, but in front of Rog, this speed was far from reaching the point where he couldn't fight back. Kuroko was like a real beast, constantly attacking Rog with his hands and feet, and even creating afterimages. In the distance, Daredevil Matt tried to use his super hearing to perceive the battle between Rog and Kuroko, but he couldn't perceive anything. The only thing he could be sure of now was that the speed shown by Rog and Kuroko had completely exceeded the limit of his perception. Matt originally thought that Black Sky had already used all his strength when he fought with him, which was why he appeared to be unable to resist at all. But judging from the current situation, the strength that Kuroko had shown before was not even half, no, not even 10%. There are so many monsters in this world. Matt sighed silently in a self-deprecating tone. At this time, Rog didn't realize that the battle between him and Kuroko would make Matt so emotional. His attention was now completely focused on Kuroko, and the excitement on his face was getting stronger and stronger. It is precisely because of this kind of inhuman opponent that it makes sense to become stronger. After blocking Kuroko's attack with the ninja sword again, the ninja sword that he had casually picked up finally came to the end of its life. Kuroko used his own hands to directly break the high-quality ninja sword. At the moment when the ninja sword was broken, Rog once again used the body flicker technique to open up the distance between him and Kuroko. Throwing away the remaining half of the ninja sword, Rog said to Kuroko in an excited tone, "For the sake of your hard work, I will let you feel what a real ninja's battle is." As soon as his voice fell, Rog gathered chakra in his eyes. 3-Tomo Sharingan, open. At the moment when Rog opened the 3-Tomo Sharingan, Kuroko, who had been expressionless, showed a dignified look for the first time. His whole body was like a beast on all fours, and at the same time, the corners of his mouth were raised, and he let out a low roar. Shadow Clone Jutsu. With a thought, for shadow clones that were exactly the same as Rog appeared at the same time with a bang. The second round begins now. 5 Rogs rushed toward Kuroko at the same time, and each of them had the same kunai in their hands. Looking at the 5 identical Rogs in front of him, Kuroko not only didn't retreat, but also directly rushed toward one of the Rogs. The distance of more than 10 meters was covered in a flash, and when Kuroko was about to collide with this Rogs, a sudden force suddenly shrouded him, making his movement instantly stopped. Body freezing technique. This was a ninjutsu used by another Rogs. The body freezing technique can freeze an ordinary person for at least 30 minutes, but on Kuroko, it can only last for a short 2 or 3 seconds. But this short 2 or 3 seconds is completely enough. The Rog in front of Kuroko took this opportunity to stab Kuroko's right eye. As if perceiving the aura of death, Kuroko, whose movement was restricted, instantly released a black fog. This black fog was like a viper attacking Rog in front of him, trying to completely devour Rog in front of him, so as to resolve the crisis of his right eye being pierced. At the moment when the black fog was about to devour Rog, an office chair replaced Rog's position. Substitution technique. Chapter 17. The Rog in front of Kuroko used substitution jutsu to change the position of the office chair with himself, so that the target of the black mist swallowed was the office chair instead of himself. The office chair swallowed by the black mist instantly vaporized as if it had encountered an indescribable high temperature. After seeing this scene, the other 4 Rog instantly pulled away from Kuroko to avoid being touched by the black mist. While pulling away, 2 of the Rog threw the kunai in their hands towards Kuroko. When these 2 kunai were about to hit Kuroko's body, the strange black mist once again gushed out from Kuroko's body and swallowed the 2 kunai. One of the kunai was instantly vaporized like the office chair, while the other one slightly pierced a small part of the black mist, then turned into smoke and disappeared. After seeing this scene, one of the Rog showed a smile and silently said, "It seems that there is no way to engage in close combat, but ninjas can do more than just close combat." Genjutsu, Dark Walk Jutsu. The Rog who spoke took the lead in using ninjutsu. Unlike the fixed body jutsu that deprives the ability to move, Dark Walk Jutsu is an illusion that specifically targets vision. Although in the face of Dark Walk Jutsu, there is also a possibility that the effect of Dark Walk Jutsu will be weakened, but this does not affect Rog's next plan. Although the black mist gushing out of Kuroko's body can devour matter, it can't stop the Dark Walk Jutsu that directly targets vision. When this Rog finished casting Dark Walk Jutsu, the other 4 Rog were not idle, they immediately adjusted their positions and came to the front, back, left, and right of Kuroko. Fire Release, Grand Fire Annihilation. The 4 Rog used Grand Fire Annihilation at the same time, and Kuroko's surroundings suddenly turned into a sea of fire. Although the 4 Grand Fire Annihilation will not have 4 times the power, but it can completely block all of Kuroko's escape possibilities. The black mist gushing out of Kuroko's body can perfectly defend against physical attacks, but Grand Fire Annihilation is pure fire damage. Grand Fiery Annihilation from 4 different locations struck Black Sky, who had temporarily lost his vision without any suspense, causing him, who was at the center of the attack, to let out an intense scream that did not belong to humans. While the other 4 Rogs were casting Grand Flame Extinguishing spell, the Rog who first cast Dark Sneak technique didn't stay idle. He cast Body Fixing technique on Black Sky one after another. Since a single hold spell could only hold Black Sky for 2 to 3 seconds, then he would use more hold spells to prolong the time. When the effect of the first hold spell disappeared, the second hold spell descended upon Black Sky. The effect of the second body securing technique disappeared, and the third came. Black Sky was forced to stay in place for more than 10 seconds by relying on immobilization spells one after another. He had to endure the full power of 4 Grand Flame Annihilation spells. When the flames of Grand Flame Extinguished dissipated, Black Sky, who was at the center of the attack, became a skeleton in a broken state. He was barely able to stand with the support of a weak black mist. He had taken all the damage. Strong control to death. At this point, Rog dispelled the shadow doppelganger. The 4 Rogs who cast Grand Flame Extinguishing spell turned into smoke and disappeared with a bang. When Black Sky, who only had a broken skeleton left, fell to the ground, Rog silently summed up the battle just now. He cast Shadow Doppelganger, and used one of the Shadow Doppelganger to attract Black Sky's attention. The main body cast Body Fixing technique, and the Shadow Doppelganger took the opportunity to attack Black Sky's right eye. The Shadow Doppelganger used substitution technique to dodge the black mist, while the main body reformulated the battle plan. The main body and the Shadow Doppelganger simultaneously threw out 2 kunai, one real and one fake, to determine the nature of the black mist. After understanding the nature of the black mist, the main body used dark sneak technique to deprive Black Sky of his vision, and the 4 shadow doppelganger simultaneously cast Grand Flame extinguishing spell from 4 directions. The main body continued to cast body fixing technique, forcibly controlling Black Sky, making Black Sky take the damage of the 4 Grand Flame extinguishing spells. Although this set of combo couldn't be considered very beautiful, but the effect was very good. It quickly took care of Black Sky, who was protected by the black mist. Looking at the remaining broken bones of Black Sky scattered on the ground, Rog sighed with satisfaction. This was the best battle he had enjoyed in the past 3 years. If Black Sky didn't know nothing about his ninjutsu and was so reckless, he may not have been able to use this set of tactics so smoothly. In any case, Black Sky allowed him to enjoy the pleasure brought by the battle. Now Rog was in a good mood, but the mood of Savant and Murakami on the top floor of the building was as bad as it could get. First, Erika fled in fear, and then Black Sky died. Erika was just an outsider, after all, she was just a tool brainwashed by the Hand of Hand. But Black Sky was completely different. Black Sky was the strongest weapon carefully made by the Hand of Hand. In a sense, Black Sky was the strength ceiling of the Hand of Hand. Otherwise, as one of the 5 fingers, Savant had no need to be afraid of a 10-year-old child. I can now be sure that he is definitely not the bait of the Holiness Church. Murakami tried to calm his mood and said slowly. At the last meeting, they suspected that Rog was the bait thrown by the Holiness Church, so they temporarily put aside the revenge action against Rog. But now it seems that their suspicion was very wrong. Even Black Sky, who was possessed by a beast, was killed so easily. If Rog was really a member of the Holiness Church, then he alone could completely destroy the Hand of Hand. With such power, there was no need to plan anything at all, he could directly flatten them. Let's go, we can only give up this base. Murakami turned to Savant and said. Savant didn't answer him, nor did he leave his seat, as if he didn't hear Murakami's words. Savant's temper was the worst among the 5 fingers of the Hand of Hand, but if you think that he was impulsive and brainless, then you would be wrong. How could someone who was chosen by Kunlun be a brainless idiot? Even if he was really an idiot, after living for hundreds of years, he would become an idiot who was good at thinking. After watching the entire battle between Rog and Black Sky from the monitor, Savant became silent, and his brain began to work crazily. When Murakami was about to urge him again, he finally spoke. We're not going, we don't have to give up this base. As he spoke, Savant stood up and looked at Murakami with a serious face. What do you mean? Don't tell me you want to stop that monster. Yes, I will stop him, but not by fighting. Looking at Murakami, who was still confused, Savant spoke again. Before he killed our people in the warehouse, did you know him? Murakami shook his head. Then did we offend him before? Murakami wanted to continue shaking his head, but in the end, he said, it's hard to say, maybe his friends or classmates died in the Hand of Hand's hands. After hearing Savant's answer, Savant sighed helplessly. If the Hand of Hand really killed his friends or classmates, do you think he would do nothing? Chapter 18. After listening to Savant's words, Murakami shook his head again. That's right. This means that before the warehouse was attacked, we didn't have any grudges with this Rog. According to the information we have, he is a private detective who suddenly appeared in New York 3 years ago and has mastered magical ninjutsu. Although I still don't know why he attacked our warehouse and brought people here, I have a bold guess. He must have accepted someone else's request, that's why he is our enemy. Savant confidently stated his judgment. Murakami seriously thought about Savant's statement, and then he had to admit that Savant's statement was very reasonable, and it was very likely to be the truth of the matter. Then what are you going to do? Since Savant had already thought to this level, it meant that he also had a countermeasure, so Murakami directly asked Savant. It's very simple. We just need to give him what he wants. Since we don't have any grudges with him, that means that as long as we are willing to take a step back, he won't continue to attack us. Unless he accepted the request to eliminate us, there is no need for him to kill us. In the face of such an undefeatable enemy, taking a step back was not a shameful thing. Although this would seriously affect the reputation of the hand, compared to their lives, these things could be directly ignored. Are you sure you want to do this? If we choose to take a step back, but he is still unwilling to stop, then you and I may not be able to leave here alive. Murakami did not oppose Sovant's decision, but he was not willing to completely entrust his right to live to the mercy of others. This is my decision alone. You can take this chance to leave now. If he accepted the request to eliminate us, it is better for one person to die than two. Sovant also had this concern, so he decided to take the risk alone. Okay, it's decided. If you really die in his hands, I will definitely find a way to avenge you. After that, Murakami left the room and walked toward the top of the building. A private helicopter was parked on the roof of the building. After Murakami left, Sovant looked at the monitor again. You must be the client this time. Sovant left the room and found Erica, who had just escaped to the top floor of the building. Can you still stand up? Rog asked Daredevil Matt, who was still lying on the floor. Sure. It's just that I won't be able to continue fighting. Daredevil Matt tried to stand up and walked towards the elevator. Looking at Matt's staggering figure, Rog sighed helplessly. This guy was really affectionate. It was clear that Matt still had no intention of leaving. Although he had no fighting ability now, he still had to find Erica. Rog came to Matt's side, helped him up, and then took him to the elevator. Erica is on the top floor now, you can think about paying her. With that, Rog pressed the number for the top floor and the elevator began to rise. The process of going to the top floor went smoothly. Rog and Matt did not encounter any attacks and they easily came to the top floor of the building. When the elevator door opened, a tall black man in a suit and Erica in a tight red ninja suit appeared in front of them. The moment he saw Erica, Matt wanted to rush out of the elevator directly, but Rog held his shoulder and he helplessly stayed in the elevator. Let me introduce myself, my name is Sovant, one of the 5 fingers of the hand. As for the one next to me, I don't think I need to introduce him. Sovant introduced himself with a natural face, as if he didn't know what Rog and Matt had done before. The scene in front of him was beyond Rog's expectations. He didn't expect that Sovant and Erica would be waiting for them here and act so harmless. In his imagination, when they came to the top floor, they would be greeted by a large group of hand-of-hand ninjas. It seems that you are not worried about your life at all. After confirming with chakra perception, Rog found that there were no hand-of-hand ninjas on the top floor of the building except for the 4 of them. This also meant that the scene in front of them was not a trap. I was a little worried at first, but after hearing what you said, Mr. Rog, I was completely relieved. As a man who has lived for hundreds of years, Sovant is now 100% sure that his judgment is correct. Rog didn't come to the hand for revenge, and the commission he received was definitely not to eliminate the hand. After confirming this, Sovant's expression became more confident, and he said slowly, "If you don't mind, Mr. Rog, let's talk in my office." After arriving at Sovant's office, Rog looked around the office and then sat down casually. Although he only took a glance, he could already confirm that the picture displayed on the TV wall was the real-time monitoring picture of the 5th floor. After Rog and Matt sat down, Sovant sat on the sofa opposite them and asked calmly, "Mr. Rog, what is your purpose this time? If there is anything I can help you with, Mr. Rog, you can ask directly and I will do it." Sovant's performance at this time was not like the notorious leader of the hand at all, but like a very kind businessman. Is he admitting defeat? Judging from Sovant's performance, this possibility is very high. Thinking of this, Rog's evaluation of Sovant couldn't help but rise a little. He knows when to yield and when to stand tall. This evaluation came to Rog's mind involuntarily. Since you are so sincere, I'll be straightforward. She is the reason why we are here. No problem, since Mr. Rog is here for Erica, from now on, Erica is yours, Mr. Rog. Sovint was not surprised at Rog's purpose. After recognizing Daredevil, he already understood why Rog and the others were here this time. Sovint originally didn't know the true identity of Daredevil Matt. Although the Hand had been investigating Daredevil before, they had never obtained any useful information. But after Erica was brainwashed by the Hand easily learned the true identity of Daredevil Matt, and also knew the things between Daredevil Matt, Erica, and Holiness Church. Chapter 19. Rog was not surprised by Sovint's answer. After finding out that Sovint had given in, he knew that Sovint would definitely hand Erica over to him. Rog's face was calm, but Daredevil Matt, who was sitting next to him, and Erica, who was standing next to Sovint, were surprised. Matt was surprised because he didn't expect the notorious Hand to be so kind. Even though the person sitting opposite him was Sovint, one of the 5 fingers of the Hand, he still felt it was incredible. This was the Hand that even Kingpin didn't give face to. The Hand, who was famous for its cruelty and bloodshed throughout the underworld, actually gave in just like that. Matt began to wonder if his previous insistence still made sense. He risked his life to punish evil, but the result was nothing compared to Rog's thunderous slaughter. The so-called justice was not as good as the simplest way to curb violence with violence. Like Matt, after hearing that Sovint had handed her over to Rog so easily, Erica, who had been standing straight, couldn't help but tremble slightly. After being brainwashed, the Hand became the only faith left in Erica's heart. After knowing that she was no match for Rog, she violated Murakami's orders and returned to the top floor of the building. She didn't mind sacrificing for the Hand, but she didn't want the Hand she believed in to suffer a huge loss here. She believed in the Hand, but what she really cared about were the 5 leaders of the Hand. She could die here, at the hands of Rog. But Sovint and Murakami must not be hurt, so even if she disobeyed orders, she had to return to the top floor of the building. She wanted to escort Sovint and Murakami safely out of the building, and when they were safe, she would stop or kill Rog at the cost of her life. But she never thought that Sovint, whom she regarded as a faith, would hand her over to Rog so easily. It turns out that in their hearts, I am no different from those ninjas. Erica thought of the hand ninjas who were regarded as tools by him and her attitude towards those ninjas. The more she cared, the sadder it was. Although Erica was trying her best to control her trembling and emotions, no one present was an ordinary person, so her abnormality was quickly noticed by Rog and others. Rog had no reaction to this. To him, it didn't matter whether Erica's emotions were normal or not. What was important was the judgment of the system. Like Rog, Sounder didn't react. But his lack of reaction was only on the surface. As for what he was thinking in his heart, it was estimated that only he would know. Of the 3 people, the one with the most intense reaction was Daredevil Matt. After noticing Erica's abnormality, Matt ignored the pain in his body and quickly stood up and immediately came to Erica, trying to comfort her. But his hands stopped in mid-air, and he suddenly realized that Erica was not the Erica he remembered. And he didn't know what identity to use to comfort Erica now. Ex-boyfriend? Senior brother? College classmate? New Yorker? When Matt sat back on the sofa with a lonely face, Rog opened the system commission page, glanced at it, and saw the picture he wanted to see. Commission content: get Erica out of hand control. Commission status: completed. Commission reward: 20 ninja coins have been sent. Ninja coins not consumed: 25. The ninja coins were quickly transferred to his account, which made Roger's mood a lot better. Since the system has determined that the commission has been completed, it means that Erica has made her final choice. As for how much of this choice was about obeying orders, and how much of it was about her dying heart, only she herself knew. I accept Hand's kindness. In fact, I personally don't have much of an opinion on Hand, it's just a matter of work, so you understand. Since Sovint is so good at dealing with people, Rog doesn't mind giving him face. I understand, I can assure you, Mr. Rog, that Hand will never take these things to heart. It has to be said that people who have lived for hundreds of years are different. Looking at Sovint's amiable face, Rog admitted that he couldn't do it. I'm not an unreasonable person. These 2 jobs did cause some losses to you, especially one of your important personnel. Well, in order to express my apologies, if Hand has any suitable commission in the future, I can consider accepting it. After hearing Rog's words, Sovint and Matt were stunned at the same time. Sovint didn't expect that Rog would include Hand on the client list. When investigating Rog's identity, Hand spent a lot of effort, including those who have been to Rog's office. So they know very well that Rog won't accept any commission. More importantly, he had never failed to complete any of the tasks he had accepted. Of course, the commissions that Hand can investigate can't be all of Rog's commissions, but the information revealed in them is enough to be taken seriously. Sovint had originally only hoped to give improperly in exchange for Rog to stop, but now it seems that Hand can gain far more than he had planned. Even if Rog was extremely picky about commissions, even if he only accepted 1 commission from Hand in the end, it would still be a huge gain for Hand. Unlike Sovint, who was secretly delighted, Matt's mood became extremely complicated. Although Matt knew from the beginning that Rog wasn't a so-called hero, he didn't want Rog to get entangled with Hand, or even directly help Hand. But Matt knew very well that he had no personal relationship with Rog. What Rog wanted to do and what kind of commission he wanted to accept was his own freedom, even if the client was Hand. Rog himself didn't think too much about it. To him, there was nothing strange about including Hand on the client list. He could even accept a commission from Kingpin, let alone a commission from Hand. As long as Hand's commission could pass the system's judgment, Hand could become his client. As for whether he would be called a hero or a villain, he didn't care at all. The title of a superhero sounded good, but the price to pay wasn't low at all. After chatting for a while, Sovint handed a bank card with $5 million to Rog with a smile on his face, and then personally walked them to the door on the 1st floor of the building. As for the ninja corpses in the hall on the 1st floor, they had been cleaned up by Hand while they were talking. Not even a drop of blood was left. Chapter 20. Can you stop following me? I've said it many times, you're free. Rog, leaning back in his chair, said helplessly to Erica in front of him. Since they left the building in Hand, he told Erica very clearly that she could go wherever she liked and do whatever she wanted. But he didn't know if he didn't express himself clearly enough or if Erica didn't listen to him at all. After being ruthlessly abandoned by Sovint, Erica seemed to have made up her mind to follow Rog. Even if he used the Flying Thor to get rid of Erica directly and return to the firm alone, Erica still came to find him according to the address. Erica didn't answer Rog. She just stood silently in front of Rog without saying a word. What made Rog even more helpless was that in addition to Erica, there was also the seriously injured daredevil Matt in his firm. Matt also didn't say a word, as if he would follow Erica wherever she went. Looking at Matt's increasingly pale face, Rog even wondered if Matt would suddenly die in his firm. I really have to hand it to you too. No wonder you could become a couple before, you are simply. Roger thought carefully for a moment, but couldn't come up with a suitable adjective to describe Erica and Matt, who were so stubborn. Forget it, you can do whatever you want. As soon as his voice fell, Rog disappeared in front of them and returned to his secret nest of more than 500 square meters. As for Erica and Matt, who stayed in the firm, they could do whatever they wanted. Anyway, he didn't plan to go to the firm in the next few days. Time passed in a flash. A few days later, when Rog returned to his firm, he still saw the face that made him helpless. Miss, what do you want? Rog's firm, which was originally so simple that there were only a few pieces of furniture, is now in good order. Not only that, but there are also a lot of furniture in the firm that he has no impression of. After seeing the wall paint and other materials piled up in the corner, he had good reason to suspect that if he had come back a few days later, maybe his firm would have been completely renovated. I won't let others throw it away like trash without any feelings. Maybe it was because she had changed back to normal clothes, but after hearing Rog's question, Erica answered his question for the first time. Although it was a bit irrelevant, it was also a good start. Since she was willing to speak, it meant that they could communicate. Being able to communicate meant that there was the possibility of persuading the other party. Just as Rog was about to persuade Erica to stop following him, the door of the firm was pushed open and a big European man wearing a tight t-shirt with a white skull printed on it walked in. This skull symbol looked a little familiar. Before Rog could recall the information of this skull, the uninvited big European man instantly took out 2 pistols from his waist and fired at Rog. Bang 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 bang, fierce gunshots continued to sound, but these bullets failed to hit the target. They all hit the wall behind Rog. Punisher. This guy is a Punisher. When the Punisher took out the pistols from his waist in lightning speed, Rog instantly recalled the skull logo, and then used the body flicker technique without hesitation. Rog flashed to the right side of the Punisher, and his right fist filled with chakra mercilessly hit the Punisher's lower abdomen, sending him flying. The Punisher, who was sent flying, slammed into the door of the firm, overturned the door that was not very sturdy to begin with, and slammed into the wall of the aisle. The moment the Punisher hit the wall of the aisle, he spat out a mouthful of bright red blood uncontrollably. Rog did not use ninjutsu or kunai, but his right fist filled with chakra was equally powerful. Although the Punisher's physique was stronger than ordinary people, it was still not enough to withstand Rog's chakra punch. After forcibly stabilizing his body by relying on the wall, the Punisher did not hesitate. He decisively abandoned the pistols in his hands, then took out 2 grenades from his trouser pocket, and removed the safety pins on the grenades with his thumbs. Is this guy planning to die together with me? Why do I always meet these lunatics? Immobilization technique. After sensing the dangerous thoughts of the Punisher, Rog had no choice but to use immobilization technique to immobilize the Punisher, lest this guy blow up his firm. The moment his body was forcibly immobilized, the Punisher instantly recalled the superpower incident he had heard of before. But before he had time to think about it, his figure completely disappeared from the aisle and instantly arrived in a dilapidated warehouse. In order to protect his not-so-high-end firm and to prevent the Punisher from causing a bigger commotion, Rog directly used the Flying Thor to bring him to a dilapidated warehouse in Hell's Kitchen. After throwing away the grenades in the Punisher's hand and removing the pistols, grenades, daggers, neck wires, and other weapons from the Punisher, Rog removed the immobilization technique on the Punisher. When the immobilization technique's effect completely disappeared, the Punisher did not immediately attack Rog. Instead, he quickly distanced himself and sized up Rog with great vigilance. Only you are guilty, so you must die. It seems that in your eyes, I am the kind of person who must die. From the moment the Punisher launched his attack to the moment he was brought to this dilapidated warehouse, only a few seconds had passed. But in just 2 to 3 seconds, the Punisher showed an extremely strong killing intent, as if he would not stop until he killed Rog. After Rog revealed his true thoughts, the Punisher was slightly stunned, but he quickly recovered and continued to size up Rog with a vigilant gaze. Others may not know your identity, but I am different. I know your past, Captain Frank Castle. This was the benefit of being a transmigrator. To others, their existence was like a secret, but to a transmigrator, it was no different from public information. You know me? The Punisher was now 100% sure that Rog really recognized him. But he remembered very clearly that he had never seen Rog before. Of course, who doesn't know the famous Punisher? But even if you are the Punisher, you can't shoot me without saying anything. Because it will make me very unhappy. At this point, Rog's aura also changed. From a seemingly harmless young man, he instantly became a tyrant who held supreme power and slaughtered countless lives. Chapter 21. Is this guy really human? After experiencing the amazing aura exuded by Rog, even the knowledgeable Punisher couldn't help but gulp, and at the same time, he silently took a step back. As an anti-hero, who knows how many gangsters and underworld overlords have died in the hands of the Punisher? But even if all their auras were added together, it would not be 1/10 of Rog's aura at this time. This aura. This sense of oppression. This kind of obedience that makes the body involuntarily want to kneel down. The Punisher felt that the person standing in front of him was not a human, but a tyrant who controlled the life and death of all things, a planet ruler with supreme power. In the face of this amazing, indescribable terrifying aura, the ninjutsu Rog just used became extremely ordinary. The Punisher wanted to say something, but in the face of this godlike oppressive force, he finally shut his mouth obediently. Even his gaze silently moved down a little, not daring to look at Rog's figure anymore. After sensing the change in the Punisher, Rog finally retracted his indescribable aura and returned to the ordinary young man who looked harmless to humans and animals. It was the first time he was so angry since coming to this world. He had just given himself a few days off and returned to his office in a good mood, only to see Erica, who made him feel helpless. That wasn't all. What truly infuriated him was the Punisher's sudden attack filled with killing intent. Although the Punisher's attack did not really hurt him, it made his originally happy mood instantly gloomy to the bottom of the valley. If it weren't for his good self-control, he would have broken the Punisher's neck directly. I don't know if you attacked me because I slaughtered too many ninjas in the hand, or if it was for some other reason. But your attack made me very unhappy, but I don't want to kill anyone now, because killing people will make my mood worse. So I decided to give you a chance to make up for your mistakes. Become my subordinate, and I won't pursue the matter of you attacking me just now. Rog originally didn't have such thoughts, but after seeing the skull on the Punisher's body, he suddenly changed his mind. The Punisher was quite skilled, and his past meant that he was destined to have many miraculous feats. If he could make such a person his subordinate, there should be unexpected results. He might even be able to get more commissions. No, I refuse. The Punisher knew very well what his choice meant, but he still gave a decisive answer. Some things would not be given up just because of the fear of death. Very good. It was really good. But now, I want you to submit to me even more. Having a personality was better than not having one. Moreover, the Punisher's skills meant that he was destined to be a very qualified subordinate. So, Rog was even more determined to subdue the Punisher. I'm not afraid of your personality, I'm only afraid that you don't have the ability. I'm not your opponent, but I won't be your subordinate either. It's impossible now, and absolutely impossible in the future. If you really want to subdue me, I advise you to just kill me. The Punisher replied solemnly, but Rog did not take his words to heart. No matter which world it was, there was an eternal and unchanging law, an ultimate law that could transcend time and space. The law of fragrance. The stronger the rejection now, the stronger the law of fragrance would be in the future. It's a waste to kill someone like you. Since your belief is that as long as you are guilty, you must die. Then I'll give you a chance to carry out your beliefs, and I'll give you 3 chances. Hearing this, the Punisher couldn't figure out what Rog was trying to do. For the next month, I'll be in New York. You can attack me at any time and any place. As long as you can successfully injure me in 3 attacks, or successfully escape after 1 attack, I'll give up on subduing you. At the same time, I don't mind your attack this time. However, if you fail 3 times in a row, then you will have to become my subordinate, and you will have to do it willingly. How about it? Are you interested in accepting this challenge? As Rog spoke, he walked toward the Punisher. When he finished speaking, he arrived in front of the Punisher. Or are you saying that your beliefs are just empty words? Hearing Rog's mocking tone, the Punisher clenched his fists silently, took a deep breath, and replied in a gloomy tone, "Since you want to play, I'll play with you. But if you lose, you'll die. If you can do it, do it. I admire your confidence." After that, Rog patted the Punisher on the shoulder and returned to his office through the door. When he returned to his office, the person who appeared before him was still Erica. But now, she was working hard to fix the door that the Punisher had destroyed. Erica noticed Rog, but she did not speak to Rog. She continued to fix the door, trying to restore it to its original state. Looking at Erica's back, Rog thought seriously for a few seconds before saying, "If you really want to stay here, that's fine, provided that you become an assistant in the office." After hearing Rog's words, Erica stopped. After a moment of silence, she said without looking back, "No problem, as long as you pay me." Rog did not answer Erica. He opened the drawer of his desk and took out the bank card that Sovint gave him last night. "Treat the money inside as the office's funds. Your salary and the office's expenses will be paid from this." After throwing the bank card at Erica like a dart, Rog returned home with the Flying Thunder God, then turned on the PS4 and started playing games. As for the challenge between him and the Punisher, he didn't take it to heart at all because the Punisher was bound to lose. After the Punisher accepted his casual challenge, he left the Flying Thunder God technique on the Punisher's body, then patted the Punisher's shoulder. With the Flying Thor, the Punisher had no chance of escaping smoothly, nor was there any possibility of successfully attacking him. As long as he sensed the Flying Thor on the Punisher, he could clearly know the location of the Punisher and even appear directly in front of the Punisher. So this challenge was not a fair game from the beginning. Ninjas were not knights, so there was no need to foolishly pursue so-called fairness. As long as he could achieve his goal, he didn't mind using some small tricks. Chapter 22. In the next few days, Rog will go to his office every day to see if there is any suitable commission that can be judged by the system. He doesn't know if the previous tasks have used up his good luck. The number of clients coming to his office these days is not only small, but the content of the commission is also difficult to explain in a few words. Looking for a lost pet cat, looking for an old classmate from more than 10 years ago, protecting a group of rich second generation to go to the Amazon forest. For these clients, Rog didn't even have the interest to answer them and directly signaled Erica to let them leave. Is there no better commission? Rog, lying on the sofa, stared at the ceiling of the office with a bored face, holding a balloon filled with water in his right hand. The water in the balloon was constantly bulging as if it was boiling, making the smooth surface of the balloon constantly bulging. Erica, sitting on the other side, looked curiously at the water ball in Rog's hand, and then asked doubtfully, "Is this your ninjutsu training method?" Erica is also a ninja, but she has never seen a ninja like Rog, nor has she ever seen a ninja with ninjutsu like Rog. Erica has a very deep impression of Rog's ninjutsu and a strong yearning for it. It's not training, it's learning. I'm learning a new ninjutsu. Rog's original plan was to exchange ninjutsu Rasengan directly in the system, but after having 3 Tomo Sharingan, he changed his mind. The principle of Rasengan is very simple. It is to gather chakra in the hand, then control the chakra to flow in an irregular direction, and compress it, and finally form a palm-sized chakra ball. So if you want to master Rasengan, in addition to the direct exchange from the system, you can also master it through continuous practice. For the control of chakra, Rog can be regarded as a master. After all, in the past 3 years, the most practice he has done is the use and control of chakra. He has mastered things like walking on water or hanging himself upside down on the ceiling a year or 2 ago. Even if he imitates Spider-Man to climb the outer wall of the building or the glass, there is no problem. Pa. Not long after Rog answered Erica, the water ball in his hand boiled violently and then shattered with a pop. After the water ball in his hand shattered, Rog sat up and took out a palm-sized ball from the drawer of his desk. The first stage of learning Rasengan was gathering chakra in the palm and the second stage of practicing water ball. For him, there was no difficulty. Therefore, after breaking the water ball in his hand, he immediately started the third stage of the rubber ball practice. A rubber ball was much sturdier than a water ball. To break a rubber ball, it was far from enough to rely on chakra's continuous flow and compression. Only by materializing the chakra ball in his hand could he break the ball. After completing this stage, the prototype of the Rasengan was basically formed. After getting the ball, Rog went back to the sofa to lie down and began to practice Rasengan. As time passed, the rubber ball in Rog's hand began to bubble like a water ball, but it remained intact and showed no signs of breaking. It seems that it's still a little difficult. The rubber ball in his hand refused to break, and the casual look on Rog's face finally disappeared, and he began to become serious. When Rog began to get serious, Erica also focused all her attention on the ball in his hand, hoping to see something from it. However, Rog's seriousness lasted less than 10 minutes and was interrupted by a frivolous tone. "I didn't expect you to still be playing with a rubber ball when you're so old." Tani, wearing a designer suit and dark brown sunglasses, walked in and then looked at the ball in Rog's hand with a little curiosity. "Why don't you recover at home at this time? Why do you suddenly have time to come to my small firm?" Rog was not surprised that Tani could find this place. When he rescued Tani, he did not hide his identity. So whether Tani came from Coulson or through his own channels, he could easily find this place. "Your firm is really small." Rog's firm is only a few dozen square meters, and there is not even a single room. If it hadn't been specially decorated by Erica a few days ago, the firm would have looked even more simple. "But your assistant is pretty good." Tani didn't change his playboy nature and looked at Erica carefully from head to toe. After discovering that Rog and Tani knew each other, Erica poured a cup of coffee for Tani and then brought it to Tani, who was still standing. "I don't like to be handed to me." Tani shook his head and had no intention of taking the coffee from Erica's hand. "Let's get straight to the point. What's the matter with the famous Tani Stark?" Rog doesn't hate Tani, but he wants to practice Rasengan in peace. "As my savior, your attitude towards me is really more than a little cold. Can't you be a little warmer?" Tani came to Rog and said in an exaggerated tone, and then took the ball in his hand. "If you have nothing else to do," before Rog could finish his words, Tani continued, "I have made a new toy in the past few days and I want to invite you to enjoy it." Although Tani didn't say it explicitly, Rog quickly guessed the so-called new toy of Tani. Unsurprisingly, the new toy in Tani's mouth is the Iron Man armor. It's just that he doesn't know whether it is Mark II or Mark III. "Tani Stark has personally come to invite me. If I don't go and see it, it would be too unreasonable." More than an hour later, Rog came to Tani's seaside mansion and saw the familiar Iron Man armor in his impression. Red and gold color scheme, Mark III. "You've been back in New York for less than a week. You've made the Iron Man armor so quickly. It's very efficient." "Of course, I'm Tani Stark," Tani said confidently, and he liked the look of appreciation in Rog's eyes. As a creator, the most afraid thing is that their works are not recognized. Therefore, Rog's recognition of Mark III also made Tani feel satisfied and gratified. "It's really good. This will be the beginning of an era." Looking at Mark III in front of him, Rog couldn't help but sigh. Tani didn't expect Rog's evaluation of Mark III to be so high, and he felt like he had met a confidant. Chapter 23. Fight with me, I want to see how strong the so-called ninja is. When Rog felt the cold metal texture from Mark III with his right hand, Tani suddenly said, "No, I refuse." Rog didn't look back and directly refused Tani and continued to focus on Mark III. It has to be said that even with the extraordinary power of ninjutsu, Mark III, the pinnacle of mechanical technology, can still make Rog yearn for it. Why? Tani came directly to Rog's side and asked. It's not good to fight with you, and it's a waste of energy, so I refuse. After observing Mark III closely, Rog gave his answer. Your new toy is really good. If you have nothing else, then I'll go back. After satisfying his curiosity, Rog didn't plan to continue to stay here. Seeing that Rog was about to leave, Tani quickly flashed an idea in his mind, and then said very seriously, You are a ninja who will accept commissions. I have a commission now. I don't know if you dare to accept it. Although it was clear that Tani was using provocation, after hearing Tani's words, Rog stopped the flying Thor that he was about to use. The content of the commission is very simple, that is, you fight with me wearing a battle suit, no matter if you win or lose, I will give you a generous reward. How about it, do you want to take it? Or are you afraid of my Mark III, so you don't dare to fight with me? Tani deliberately said in a sarcastic tone, and his face was also full of confidence. Looking at Tani's appearance at this time, Rog shook his head helplessly, and then gave his own answer. I'm not interested in money. But since you are so confident, I can give you a chance. As soon as his voice fell, Rog's figure disappeared in front of Tani. Although it wasn't the first time he had seen Rog disappear in an instant, Tony was still a little afraid of his ability to appear and disappear unpredictably. A few seconds later, Rog's figure reappeared in front of Tani, and in his hand, he held a scroll. The scroll in his hand is the necessary commission scroll for accepting commissions. I have a strong sense of ceremony, so if you want a commission, you have to write the content of the commission and the reward on it first, and then I will give you the final answer. If you lose, I want a set of Mark III with an arc reactor. After that, Rog pointed to the arc reactor on Tani's chest. No problem. Tani quickly wrote the content of the commission and the reward on the commission scroll, and then threw the commission scroll back to Rog. When Tani signed his name on the scroll, a line of information appeared on the commission page in the system. Commission content, fight with Tani Stark wearing Mark III, commission status, incomplete, commission reward, 5 ninja coins. After seeing that Tani's commission passed the judgment, Rog's face also showed a satisfied look. Finally, there will be ninja coins again. Although there are only 5 ninja coins, no matter how small a mosquito's leg is, it's still meat, so Rog doesn't mind. The difficulty of the commission is very low, and it doesn't take much time and energy, and he can also get a set of Mark III as a trophy. This is a very good commission, and it can even rank in the top 3 of all the commissions Rog has performed. I accept your commission. When and where do you want to start this battle? Now, the battle site is here. Tani originally wanted to say that they would fight here, but after taking a look at his garage, he decisively gave up the idea. You decide the location of the battle. In that case, let's fight outside. Rog pointed out the window casually and quickly set the location of the battle. Outside? It's the sea outside. You want to fight me in the sea? Tani asked with a puzzled look. No, I'm not going to fight you in the sea. I'm going to fight you outside. You can fly in the air or dive in the sea, it's your freedom. Looking at the sea outside, Tani didn't understand how Rog was going to fight in that place, but he still agreed. Tani quickly finished wearing Mark III, and then flew out of the garage and directly over the sea a few kilometers away. Just as Tani planned to look back to see how Rog came to this place, Rog's figure appeared in front of him out of thin air, and then fell quickly under the influence of gravity. Tani, wearing Mark III, didn't fly very high, but he was dozens of meters away from the sea level. Looking at Rog's rapidly falling figure, Tani wanted to fly over to save Rog, but he finally gave up the idea. He wanted to see how this ninja who has mastered mysterious ninjutsu would resolve the situation in front of him. 30 meters. 20 meters. 10 meters. 5 meters. When Rog was about to fall into the sea, he seemed to have landed on the ground and stood firmly on the sea. If it weren't for the ripples on the sea under his feet, Tawny would even doubt that it was still the sea. How did he do it? The scene in front of him was not scientific at all, not scientific at all. He didn't know why. Looking at Rog standing on the sea, Tawny remembered some myths. But he quickly put these strange thoughts in the back of his mind, ready to let Rog see what is the power of science and technology. Without any hesitation, Tawny flew directly towards Rog and began his attack. Obviously, he can rely on his flying advantage to attack from a distance, but he chose the simplest and most violent melee. It seems that I have been underestimated. The distance of dozens of meters, for Tawny flying at full speed, can be crossed in an instant. After arriving in front of Rog like lightning, Tawny's right fist punched out and hit Rog's chest. Bang! Tawny's right fist hit Rog without any suspense, but Rog turned into a cloud of smoke and quickly dissipated in the air. Before he could figure out what was going on, a heart-wrenching pain came from his left shoulder. Pain! 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 Tawny felt like he was shot directly in the left shoulder by a rifle, and his entire left arm and shoulder were in unbearable pain. Am I shot? As soon as this idea emerged, it was rejected by Tawny. He was wearing Mark III. Even if he was really shot by a rifle, it would never cause such pain at such a distance. Tawny turned his head and glanced at his left shoulder, and then he was directly stunned, and his whole person maintained the flying posture as if he had lost his soul. Chapter 24. He saw a finger-sized hole on the left shoulder of Mark III. In the hole, there were bursts of electric sparks from time to time. Mark III's left shoulder was directly penetrated. As the maker of Mark III, Tawny knows very well what kind of defensive ability Mark III has. The main material of Mark III is gold titanium alloy, which has extremely high defensive ability. Even if it is shot by a 7.62mm rifle bullet on a large scale for a long time, it will not cause significant damage. However, such an enhanced composite armor with extremely high defensive capabilities was pierced through in an instant. Until now, Tawny didn't know how he was hit, let alone what hit him. Tawny suddenly turned back and saw Rog with his finger in the shape of a gun. You lost. Rog pointed to Tawny's forehead with his right index finger, indicating that the battle has been decided. Tawny wanted to refute something, but the pain from his left shoulder made him shut his mouth silently, and then without saying a word, he flew directly back to the garage. Looking at Tawny's figure gradually disappearing, Rog sighed slightly. If Tawny was not so careless, or a little bit serious, this battle could last a little longer. But obviously, Tawny, who wore Mark III, did not do this. In this battle, Rog used a total of 3 ninjutsu. Flying Thor, Shadow Clone, and Water Release, Iron Water Cannon technique that he rarely uses in battle. Iron Water Cannon technique is a secret ninjutsu passed down from generation to generation in Hozuki clan, and it is the only water ninjutsu that Rog currently knows. The liquid bullet fired by Iron Water Cannon technique has a strong penetrating power, and its destructive power is very considerable, and it can penetrate most objects. What just penetrated Mark III's left shoulder was the liquid bullet fired by Iron Water Cannon technique. When observing Mark III in the garage, Rog left Flying Thor on Mark III. He used the Flying Thunder God to fly directly in front of Tawny. It wasn't his real body, but one of Roger's shadow clones. If Tawny scanned it in many different ways at the time, he may be able to find that Rog standing on the sea is not a real human. However, Tawny did not do this, but flew directly towards the shadow clone standing on the sea, and then broke the shadow clone with a punch. When Tawny broke the shadow clone, the real Rog came behind him through Flying Thor, and then decisively used Iron Water Cannon technique and directly penetrated Mark III's left shoulder. After returning to the garage, Tawny immediately took a look at his left shoulder. After seeing the injury on his left shoulder with his own eyes, Tawny's face became more and more unsightly. The liquid bullet fired by iron water cannon technique did not penetrate his left shoulder, but it just brushed past his left shoulder, leaving an extremely obvious scratch on his left shoulder. It's actually just a scratch? At the moment of injury, Tawny thought that his left shoulder was completely penetrated, so there was such a distant pain. But it turned out that this was just his wishful thinking. When using iron water cannon technique, Rog deliberately avoided Tawny's shoulder. The liquid bullet of iron water cannon technique only brushed past Tawny's shoulder, but did not really penetrate his shoulder. After all, if it really penetrated Tawny's shoulder, then the time for him to receive the loot would be greatly delayed. Looking at the scar on his left shoulder, Tawny sighed with extreme annoyance. If he understood this at the time, maybe he wouldn't have lost so quickly, and he would still have a chance to fight back. However, Tawny quickly thought of the scene where Rog's right index finger pointed to his forehead. Are you trying to tell me that if the target of the shot was my forehead, would have died long ago? After a wry smile, Tawny came to Mark III, removed the entire left shoulder of Mark III, and put it on his workbench. Just as Tawny was about to study the hole on his left shoulder, Rog's figure appeared in the garage. It seems that you have recovered. I thought you would be lost for a while. Looking at Tawny, who was about to start studying, Rog said with a little relief. This time I was just too impulsive, next time I will never give you such an opportunity again. Although Mark III did not resist Rog's attack, Tawny knew very well that the real reason for his defeat was not Mark III, but his own carelessness. I hope so. By the way, remember to inform me after you make the Mark III I want. I am still very interested in an Iron Man armor like Mark III. After that, Rog's figure once again disappeared in front of Tawny, as if the person who had just spoken to him was just a phantom. I will win next time. Technology is the strongest power. Tawny said silently in his heart, and then turned his attention back to Mark III's left shoulder. Although he still doesn't know what penetrated Mark III's left shoulder, he is sure that he will be able to study the reason. This is the confidence of a genius and the confidence of a top inventor. Because Tawny has not paid the reward yet, the quest in the system is still in an uncompleted state for the time being. Rog is very confident in Tawny's work efficiency. As long as there is no accident, it will not take long for Tawny to complete the commission reward. After returning to the office, Rog took out the ball again and started his Rasengan practice. Before practicing Rasengan, he also deliberately used chakra perception to perceive the current location of Punisher Frank. Several days have passed since the date of the challenge, but during this period, Punisher Frank not only did not launch any attacks, but he also did not even approach Rog's office. Frank had been several kilometers away from the office the closest he had been to. Since Frank did not show any signs of launching an attack for a while, Rog did not have to worry too much about Frank making any big scene. After practicing very seriously for several hours, the ball in Rog's hand finally showed some signs of damage. Boom! With Rog's continuous efforts, the ball in his right hand collapsed, making a sound that was not loud but enough to make him gratified. When the ball broke, Rog did not rest, but directly began the fourth stage of the practice. Because there was no cover, Erica on the side finally saw what Rog's hand was. It was a chakra ball emitting a light blue light. If you look closely, you can see the chakra flowing in different irregular directions in the ball. This is... Looking at the chakra ball in Rog's hand, Erica asked doubtfully. This is chakra ball, an unfinished prototype of ninjutsu. The energy flowing in it is called chakra. Chapter 25. Rog briefly explained the chakra ball in his hand. He was not worried that Erica or others could understand the nature of ninjutsu or chakra from these simple descriptions. Knowing the source of a person's power and being able to resist the power of this person are two completely different things. Just like the future Iron Man, everyone knows that Tani relied on the high-tech Iron Man armor to have extraordinary strength. But people who can't beat him, even if they know this, still can't beat him. And Rog has no intention of hiding his abilities. Even if you know that chakra is the source of my power, even if you know all the ninjutsu I know, even if you know the fighting style I am good at, so what? Instead of carefully concealing his abilities, it is better to find ways to further improve his strength. As long as he has enough strength, why should he worry about the conspiracy of those demons and monsters? Crushing is the way of the king. Peerless is the ultimate. Not long after Rog explained to Erika, the chakra ball in his hand dissipated in the air and turned into a stream of air. Compared with the first 3 stages, the 4th stage of Rasengan practice is the real highlight. It is not difficult to condense chakra in the hand and circulate it at a high speed and irregularly. The difficult part is how to maintain and solidify it for a long time. Rasengan, which can't be maintained and solidified for a long time, is like a water ball, it breaks with a poke and has no real combat value. Erika doesn't know what chakra is, let alone what Rasengan is. But she saw something called power in this light blue chakra ball. A ninja with chakra is a real ninja. Erika didn't know why, but such an idea suddenly popped up in her mind. It dissipated over and over again and took shape over and over again. Every failure will consume a part of Rog's chakra. 10 times, 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, Rog can't remember how many times he has practiced. The only feeling he has now is that the chakra in his body is about to reach the final critical line. This is also the first time he has experienced the feeling of chakra being exhausted. This is the last time, whether it succeeds or not, it's over today. Like the previous practice, the last attempt failed without any suspense, and there was no miracle because it was the last time. After moving his stiff body, Rog looked up at the clock on the wall. It was 3:45 in the morning. Just as he planned to use the last chakra to return home with the flying thunder god, he vaguely heard the faint sound of fighting coming from the alley below the office. As a weapon master of cold weapons, although the sound of fighting was very weak, he could tell at once that it was the sound caused by katana collision. In a place like New York, it was not strange to hear gunshots. But in the middle of the night, only those famous crazy ninjas would use katana to fight. In his impression, only those crazy ninjas would use hand. Could it really be those crazy ninjas with hand? Driven by curiosity, he came to the window and looked in the direction of the fighting sound. It was indeed ninjas fighting in the alley below the office, but not the hand ninjas he imagined. One of the parties fighting was none other than Erika, who had just become an assistant in the office not long ago. At this time, Erika was still dressed as a woman in the workplace during the day, but what she was doing now was not similar to a woman in the workplace. Erika, holding a katana, was fighting against 3 enemies wearing different colors of ninja clothes. Just looking at it for more than 10 seconds, Rog saw that something was wrong. Whether it was Erika or the 3 unknown guys on the opposite side, although their offensive looked extremely fierce and every move was aimed at the vital points, Rog did not see any killing intent from them. Although he didn't know what the relationship between Erika and the 3 guys on the opposite side was, as Erika's current boss, Rog felt that it was necessary for him to go down there. Erika, stop. You are no match for the 3 of us. If you insist on being stubborn, don't blame us for being merciless. Erika, come back with us. We can solve the things in hand slowly. As soon as Rog came to the alley, he heard the words of the 3 ninjas and figured out the origin of the 3 people. No one would say such words to Erika except the people of the Holiness Church. Erika acted as if she didn't hear the words of the 3 people, and her attacks became more and more fierce, and at the same time, she was silently preparing to retreat. However, the 3 Holiness Church ninjas on the opposite side quickly noticed Erika's plan, and they no longer held back, forcing Erika into a situation of defeat in an instant. When Erika was about to be defeated and then forcibly taken away, Rog, who had been in the shadows of the alley for a while, finally came out. Do people of the Holiness Church only know how to bully people with numbers? And bullying a woman, don't you feel ashamed? Although there is not much chakra left in his body, Rog still doesn't take the three ninjas of the Holiness Church seriously. Through the observation just now, he can be 100% sure that even if he doesn't use chakra, the three Holiness Church ninjas are not his opponents at all. Who are you? Since you know that we are from the Holiness Church, how dare you mock us? One of the ninjas in a dark yellow ninja uniform said sternly. Who am I? I am Erika's boss. You attacked my assistant under my office. You people of the Holiness Church are a bit too arrogant. Rog said as he walked, and when he finished, he just came to Erika's side and took the katana in Erika's hand. If you want to take Erika away, beat me first. Or do you people of the Holiness Church only dare to bully women when there are many of you? Being ridiculed by Rog again and again, even people who don't have a temper can't help but feel a little angry now. Kid who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, don't think that you can insult the Holiness Church just because you know some martial arts. The one who spoke was the guy in the dark yellow ninja uniform. Kid, my name is, just as he was about to report his name, Rog interrupted him in time. I'm not interested in knowing the names of some small characters. Your names are not worth wasting any of my brain cells. You're courting death. It's estimated that this Holiness Church ninja has never been ridiculed like this before. After hearing Rog's words, his uncontrollable anger completely broke out. He rushed towards Rog like an angry beast, and the katana in his hand also directly chopped towards Rog's head like lightning, with the momentum of wanting to behead Rog. Chapter 26. Just as the Holiness Church ninja's katana was about to hit Rog, the katana in Rog's hand strangely appeared in front of him and hit his chest ahead of time. Shit! The moment Rog's katana cut his skin, the Holiness Church ninja felt an extremely strong aura of death. Relying on the strong control gained from years of hard training, he forcibly stopped the attack and immediately retreated. Even so, a blade wound that was tens of centimeters long still appeared clearly on his chest. Bright red blood constantly gushed out from the huge wound. If he retreated a little slower, the katana in Rog's hand would have cut his throat without any suspense, completing a true one-hit kill. Rog's attack not only shocked the injured Holiness Church ninja, but also made the faces of the two ninjas behind him become extremely dignified. As companions of the same organization, they were very clear about the strength of the injured ninja. Among the three of them, the injured ninja was the strongest and the most impulsive. You actually avoided it. It seems that you are a little stronger than the hand ninja. Hand ninjas usually only need one hit, as for you, it's only about 2 hits. Before he made a move, the three Holiness Church ninjas only thought that he didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. But at this time, not only did they not have the slightest contempt, but they also regarded him as the most dangerous kind of enemy, the kind that can take their lives at any time. This time we admit defeat, but do you really want to be the enemy of the Holiness Church? Another Holiness Church ninja said in a calm tone. In fact, I have always hated those guys who use their background when they can't win. They have already lost, but they still want to save some face for themselves. Moreover, you can't represent the Holiness Church. The one behind you should be the one who said this. After that, Rog pointed to the dark alley behind them with the katana still dripping with blood in his hand. Erika and the three Holiness Church ninjas didn't find that there was a person hiding at the end of the alley. After hearing Rog's words, they carefully observed the dark, gloomy end of the alley where faint dripping sounds came from time to time. A man in light green clothes with a long stick in his hand came out under the gaze of Erika and others. Although it was late at night, he still wore a pair of sunglasses and a light green hat that Rog wanted to complain about. The white-haired man was none other than the leader of Holy Purity Society and Erika and Daredevil's master, Old Man Cudgel. Erika is from Holiness Church, and no one can stop us from taking her back. After coming out of the dark alley, the old man came to a place to be more than 2 meters away from Rogs and said in a certain tone. As long as Erica doesn't want to, no one can take her away by force, that's what I said. Although the old man is a superclass fighting master in this world, Rog's tone is as tough as ever. Just by relying on the name of Holiness Church, they want to take Erica away from him by force. What a joke. Young man, you are good at fighting. I will give you a chance now. As long as you are willing to join Holiness Church, I can forgive you for what you did just now. Looking at the old man's natural expression, Rog even wondered if he had heard wrong just now. As long as he joins Holiness Church, he will forgive what he did just now. Does this guy have Alzheimer's disease? Where did he get his confidence from? Forgive me for what I did just now. I'd like to see what will happen if you don't forgive me. Rog now has good reason to suspect that the guys who have been in these strange organizations for a long time are a little abnormal. In that case, go to hell and repent. As soon as he finished speaking, the staff in the old man's hand arrived in front of Rog. Just as the staff was about to hit Rog's head, a samurai sword stained with blood blocked in front of the staff, blocking the thunderous staff. Bang! The sound of a violent collision resounded through the entire alley. The strong wind pressure from the staff swept past Roger like a hurricane, blowing away the papers and garbage bags that were scattered all over the place. The old man with the staff was indeed a top-notch fighting master in this world. A simple sweep from him was enough to create an indestructible aura. However, Rog standing in front of the old man was not an ordinary person either. Almost as soon as the old man launched his attack, he keenly sensed the old man's attack and took a defensive stance. After seeing Rog block his staff without batting an eyelid, the old man's aged voice sounded again. You guys, leave this alley. The old man didn't explain why, and he didn't need to. Everyone present had a wealth of combat experience, so they knew what the old man wanted to do as soon as they heard his words. Clear the place. The 3 ninjas of Holiness Church didn't hesitate. They immediately left the alley and disappeared from the sight of Rog and others. Erica didn't leave, she still stayed in the alley, but silently retreated more than 10 meters. If she hadn't been brainwashed by the old man's hand, Erica would have done what the old man said without hesitation. But now, she won't listen to anyone's orders, she will only follow her heart's choice. The old man glanced at Erica, and an undisguised look of dissatisfaction appeared on his wrinkled face. As the leader of the Holiness Church, he is the most important person in the Holiness Church. No one can disobey his orders. In his view, Erica is still a member of the Holiness Church, but now Erica blatantly disobeyed his orders, which made him feel that his authority was challenged. Old man, do you want to fight or not? I don't have much time to waste with you. Just when the old man was thinking about how to punish Erica for disobeying his orders, Rog's voice pulled him back to reality. Rog wasn't interested in knowing what the old man was thinking. The reason why he was willing to cooperate with the old man was that he wanted to see what kind of skills this fighting master had. Rog's melee fighting skills aren't weak, he can even be regarded as one of the best. However, he had always wanted to know what level his combat skills had reached. Although he has such an idea for a long time, he has been very unlucky and has never met a real fighting master. However, the appearance of the old man gave him hope of achieving his wish. The old man's fighting skills are definitely at the top level in the world. It's simply appropriate to use him to test his fighting skills. You're tuning in to the Unparalleled SwordWill YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.